Salon Selectives presents hair so beautiful you feel like you just stepped out of a salon.
Salon shine, Salon Selectives, Salon glow, Salon Selectives.
Introducing Salon Selectives, new from Helene Curtis. 4 salon shampoos, 4 salon conditioners. You select the combination that will give you salon beautiful hair.
Salon style.
Feel salon beautiful every day.
Salon Selectives.
The Young and the Restless. This portion sponsored by Oil of Olay.
Brimbor, trust me. You are master of your craft, my friend. Allow me a few days to work mine. I have not been truthful with you, Durin. I did not come to Khazad-dûm for friendship, but ambition. I did not know it. But I came for Mithril.
You have not seen what I have seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not.
You
have not seen what I've seen. You have not seen what I have seen.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Sunday. We are going to be reviewing episode 6 of Rings of Power. And I think a couple of our panelists fell asleep. I'm pretty sure Script Doctor's asleep because he said, I'm going to be watching this. If I'm late, it means I fell asleep. So I'm pretty sure he's in La La Land. And Jane Theory, I think, is either playing video games and forgot that we had a stream and lost track of time. So she's like probably killing people in Minecraft or wait, what's that other game she plays? The shooting one? The pew pew with the cartoon characters. League of Legends? I think League of Legends.
Gotcha.
So she's probably like killing people in League of Legends and forgot about this situation right now. That's okay. That's okay. We got other people here. We got George the Giant Slayer. George is here. Hi, George.
Great to be back. I always love being here. Missed it the last few times. Yeah, no, I can understand. Jane's probably having a better time playing the video games than watching the show. No, she should be here.
Wait. Speak of the devil. Speak of the
Before
devil.
you introduce yourself, say your line.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Jane is here.
Hey, Jane.
I made it. Hey guys.
You made it. Were you killing people on Minecraft?
Fortnite.
Oh,
Oh, it's Fortnite. I said League of Legends. Shit.
League of Fortnite.
I said speak of the devil, and then I realized I have a devil on the panel.
I know. I was like the other one?
Yeah, I guess you're the other one now, Jane. Hey, Halloween is coming up. You should put little devil horns on your little toque.
I should.
Good idea.
Check it out. I changed mine. The vampire chick again.
You're getting ready already.
I got excited.
Do they have anything similar in Mexico?
Do they have anything
Like
similar?
Halloween, besides Day of the Dead, do they have anything similar Halloween season in Mexico?
No, Day of the Dead is the thing here. They don't even really have Halloween. The Halloween thing is for like the expats, because Mexicans don't really celebrate Halloween. Now it's like they kind of do because they've gotten with the American thing, especially here in Cancun because it's touristy. But otherwise, no, Day of the Dead is the thing here. It's pretty freaking awesome, actually. But hello to the devil, literature devil.
Hello.
Going on?
A lot of stuff going on. Not in Lord of the Rings, though. Not in Rings of Power. Almost nothing.
No.
We're doing pretty good. You can Literature Devil on YouTube. You can find me there. We go over like narrative structure and all the things that they say doesn't exist. Like objectivity,
Oh,
And
the stuff that doesn't exist in Rings of Power.
Stuff doesn't exist. And they say that doesn't exist at all because all art is only subjective. There's nothing objective about art. So we go over that and we talk about the stuff that doesn't exist. I don't know how we do that, but I do it, and it's pretty fun. Pretty fun to talk about.
I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for your time tonight, and thanks for giving your time to watch this crappy show. Because God, I don't.
I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything. Can anyone recall anything this bad outside of Star Trek?
I don't know. I just watched Blonde, and it was
awful.
Like, I was so angry, George. You need to go watch my stream because I went live last night, and I was. I don't think I've ever been that angry, like since The Last Jedi.
You were lit. It was that bad because all I remember is that actress, whoever plays her, kept complaining about the nudity she had to do.
Oh yeah. We're not going to talk about that here because I did a whole stream about it last night. But
I'll watch it.
I was pissed. But hello, Jane. I'm glad you're here.
Hello. I'm happy to be here again, despite the subject matter.
I know. Okay, we're all like, circle hugging each other. It's like a soothing each other, like She-Hulk. Like when they went to that therapy, all like, oh, it's okay, everybody. We'll get through this together. Yeah. So tell everyone where they can find you, Jane.
You can find me on YouTube. I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Yay! Okay. Yay. Now that the introductions are out of the way, we have some things to talk about. Namely, this fucking episode, which was... Okay, I mean, things did happen in this episode, like meaning there was a battle.
I was surprised. They allowed it was brutal violence too. Like they saw the blood and they saw the stabbing. It was pretty good. It was pretty brutal. Like I was surprised. It's like they got a man in there this time around.
They copied a lot from Jackson too. This episode they copy a lot typically, but this episode, I think 6 scenes were copied directly from his films. I mean, shot for shot. I was stunned. But they have no originality. There's nothing original about them. Anything that they do original is just like, let's turn the key and blow up a volcano, and guess what? Nobody died.
Well, they didn't allow everybody to contribute either. Like it was Galadriel.
Oh my God, she's the best.
The other lady. That's it.
The other lady.
Ever.
Girl boss.
I like how Jane doesn't even know her name. The other lady. What was the Persian lady's name?
Bronwyn.
The
Healer mommy.
Oh man. Okay, so during that one part, they finally are able to get like a Don Lemon, he finally gets a moment to shine. Finally, in the beginning of the episode, finally gets into a moment to shine. Even though it's kind of dumb, like he kind of shot that little rope and the entire tower collapsed. But the thing is, after that, we killed the orcs, and then they're coming in. Like later on, they come in, and he's fighting this one orc, and this orc has his thing in his eye, and he takes the arrow or the knife or whatever it is out of his eye and starts almost stabbing Don Liminor in the eye. He's almost getting in the eye. He almost got in the eye, and like if this were actually the Game of Thrones thing they wanted to get, he would actually get his eye poked out and have to deal with having one eye as an elf. But of course, it didn't happen because he's Don Liminor. Second of all, you would think that here's the time to shine. He's going to beat this bad guy. Of course not. He's a man. He doesn't get to do this cool stuff. A woman has to come in and rescue him. So that one random lady that he's in love with or whatever comes in and rescues him.
Of course.
Men are not allowed in any capacity to be cool. Like rarely ever. And of course she survives her whole ordeal. I was like, oh, she's going to die? Fantastic.
I thought obviously that was happy for a second.
Obviously she's not going to die.
There was a moment there though in that scene where I was like, I mean, because it was kind of like a little out of character for them, like in terms of how kind of like violent it was. It was probably the most violent thing that's happened in the entire series so far. But it was surprising because at the beginning when we all heard about this series coming out and how Jeff Bezos was like, I want like the Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, right? So I figured that there's going to be stuff like this. Like there's going to be, some eye gouging and like, just like, hardcore violence in the battle scenes that you're going to see like, people get stabbed in the throat and shit, you know, stuff like that. And this is probably the closest we came to. It was really dark though. Like I could barely see anything during that whole sequence. Look how dark this is.
Right.
But this part was interesting because he like stabs him in the eye or whatever, and then he starts like dripping blood into his mouth. And I was like, ugh, like that's how you get monkeypox, I guess. Like I don't
That
know.
was really good. It was really good graphic violence. Also, I thought that there was something coming up of the that comes from him having orc blood in his mouth. I thought he would get poison or something like that, but of course not.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, is he gonna get something? Like, you know, at first I was like, does he have acid blood? Like, nothing happened though.
Well, I mean, they are vampires now, so it's possible.
Right? Like, is he gonna turn into an orc because he's like a vampire orc and now he drank the orc blood?
Next week we'll find out, you know, obviously. Because of course they also had him where it was, you know, they've been saying this entire series that they burn in the sun. You know, they show them, and this time they have them in the sun after they catch them as prisoners, and not one of them are burning. But I think the weirdest part for me is you had Healer Mommy, Girl Boss 2 and Girl Boss 3 of the Queen region, and they spend like this odd like 10 seconds doing that. It's all you, girl. No, you did it. No, I did it. No, you did it. I'm like, it was like
we see
weird congratulations cunnilingus I've never seen before. It was just the oddest thing.
That was another one of those things where men can't get any credit either. So Don Lemonor is the guy who like he did the whole thing with a tower, and then he did all this fighting and everything. And then the queen comes in and looks at this random lady, the love interest. I can't even remember her name. And she goes,
Bromley.
"Oh, I heard it was you the reason why everyone survived." Like, wait a minute.
No, it's you.
Just call her Persian girl.
It was all Don Lemonor. He was the reason why everyone survived. It was all him. Like, what did he do?
Dude, she wanted to give up. She was about to go bend the knee to Sauron.
What about Stable Boy? Come on. You had the Stable Boy who went and fought too. I mean, that's exactly what they think of. I mean, the two characters who should be the leading characters, Isildur and Elendil, are, you know, Piss Boy, Sea Captain, and Stable Boy. It's like
speaking of Isildur, I like the so another thing where they hate men is like where Galadriel goes, "Aha, I knew you were Isildur. I could see your father in you." And instead of going, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate that," he goes, "Well, I look more like my mother." Can't even acknowledge the connection between his dad. I can't even get his dad some credit. It has to be the mother getting exalted out of nowhere.
Well, his dad also was not a hero in this battle, despite being the leader of their military.
Right, of course not. But he did have those Viking wings on his helmet. I mean, can you remember? Did you see that helmet where it's like bat
he ended up
wings?
having to get saved.
I know. Come on. He's a dude. You know, if you got veg and meat, you ain't going. You're not winning in the show. It's like, that's it.
Oh my God. There's so much to talk about. Let's start from the beginning though, because so you kind of went over what happened at the beginning, Literature Devil, because you said Don Lemonlass or Don Lemonor, whatever you want to call him. He kind of like brought down the tower because they all came to the tower, like the orc army, you know, they came to the tower and they were like, we're gonna kill everyone. And then they were like, where's the humans? And then Don Lemonlass like shot this freaking arrow in this thing that took out the tower. And then like,
why?
Right. It was the weirdest thing, right? Because they should have had a big sign as the orcs were waddling. If you watch the scene, they're not walking. They have this weird waddle.
Oh, yeah.
And it should have said subverting your expectations because nobody was there. But it's like they left the village to go to a fortified tower only so they could return to the bar.
Oh my God. Well, this was it was an interesting like plan, like if it had worked, but it made no sense in the context of what we were shown, because we were shown that basically the entire army went in there, and then this tower collapses on them and the entire keep or whatever it is collapses on them. So you would assume that they're all dead or crippled or something. Like I don't think that they would be alive, but somehow like a high percentage of them survived unscathed. Like there was no problem.
They lost a couple of guys. Yeah,
maybe there's just more of them because remember, the elves are supposed to be from the watchtower watching to make sure there are no orcs, and we found out how they're fucking blind as a bat since they've allowed their entire backyard to be burned and excavated, tunnels dug, and they're like, nothing's going on over there.
Maybe all those orcs just have a lot of hit points and it's just survived it all.
Could be. That's a good one. That would make, because nothing else makes sense.
That's my favorite explanation. Another one is, you know how like Don Lemonor is out on the outlook on the edge of town at night, and then he's like, "Oh, there comes a bunch of people with torches." Like, wait a minute. Okay, we find out later. There's a big twist, big old twist somehow. Like they're the guy, they're human, but some of them are orcs. Right. So it was weird to me that orcs need torches to see in the dark because their whole thing is being in the dark. They don't like the light.
Right. I was thinking that too, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, they can't see
because the writers can't decide what the rules are in this world.
How much more awesome, intense would it be if there's a shot there and you just see like a bunch of orcs running through the night almost silently, and then all of a sudden you see, oh, there's a bunch of orcs swarming the town, and because they don't need the dark. I mean, they don't need the light; they can just see the dark. That would be really intense because you can't see them coming. Right. That would make them vicious and tough and scary. But of course, you can't do that because the good guys have to win. So like, we can see them coming. Real easy.
I don't know why they just didn't burn everybody in the bar.
Yeah, I know. Like, just burn the bar down. Like, what?
We'll just get the key out of your bodies. No problem. Lock the door. Burn them all. I'm like, it's like these writers. I don't think they've ever taken a class on writing and structure and organization and arcs and character development.
They haven't. Their dialogue sucks. And I can't go into structure now, but there is structure. I wanted to bring this up because speaking of dialogue, so they try so hard to be Tolkienian and to sound epic, like the one where she's like,
don't slake your thirst with seawater.
You can't eat a drink. You can't slake. You can't. You're not. I've had it in a tweet or something like that. It was one of those golden nuggets you get from Rings of Power. It was one cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater. Like, really? What is?
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
They can't. They're trying so hard to sound like epic and philosophical that they end up saying almost nothing. Yeah. And then you listen to things that Tolkien had in the Jackson movies. Like, where is the horse and the rider? Right. Where is the horn that was blowing? Like, he doesn't talk like that. That's not what Tolkien talks like all the time, or barely ever. And the reason why it feels that way, it's so heavy, is because listen to those lines. Where is the horse and the rider? Yeah. That alone is implies so much, because where is it? Where is this thing that was here that is there no longer? Where is it? What happened to it? And that implies some sort of tragedy, like time went on, they died, or whatever that rider represented is gone now. Now, where's the horn that was blowing? I used to hear that horn all the time, and now we don't hear it anymore. What happened? No. It's gone.
Because it relayed a story. It was relating to events. This is just, we want to sound like Tolkien. Remember, they said that from the beginning. We're going to write the novel Tolkien never wrote. That's arrogance. Think about a writer, a showrunner, who says, I am equal to Tolkien, and I'm going to do it. That just right there. Without
I don't think they're equal. They think they're better.
Yeah, I would agree. That's arrogance. We're gonna solve all the problems of Tolkien. Like, they have that same arrogance they had with like live action Cowboy Bebop. Like, we're gonna fix all the problems of the anime.
Right. Oh.
Hey, script doctor.
Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. Did you fall asleep watching the episode?
I literally did. Yes.
Too funny.
Did you even finish it?
I don't even know. I haven't even checked to see.
Was there a volcano at the end?
No, I didn't. No, I saw the clips of volcano days ago, but I did not get that far.
Okay, well,
how far did you get?
I don't remember.
I think it's everyone's experience, actually.
This show needs a warning: do not operate heavy machinery while watching Rings of Power.
That's dangerous. It's like alcohol.
Oh my God,
puts you right to sleep without the fun part.
It's the best sleeping medication you can have, because it doesn't cause you a chemical imbalance. It just screws up your internal clock.
This is the scene I was thinking about. Like, what would happen if the orcs did this? I muted it so you won't get caught. But
okay,
what if the orcs had something like this? They don't have torches, but they're ready to go fight. What if it's like this? Like, look at that. It's in the middle of the night. They can't see. You can hardly see them.
Right.
They're just moving through there.
That would have been good.
This would have been much better, and it would make more sense because they've made such a big deal about these things, like not being interested in light and not seeing, like not being able to hang out in sunlight and blah blah blah.
Plus, the Uruks could see somewhat in the dark. They didn't have perfect vision, but they could. It would make. But again, they would have to know the books. I don't care what those guys say going around the world in their press conferences. They do not know the books, or they've read them and don't understand them.
I think they know just enough to do damage.
Cliff notes,
because they're pulling things from the story that are not the story that they're telling. And even Bronwyn is reminiscent of a different character whose name escapes me, but she led her people in a fight against the orcs, but she inherited the position. Because my whole thing here is, why is she the leader? It makes no sense. But in the story of the character, I think they're modeling her after. Her father was the leader, and then he died in the attacks on their town. And so she took up the mantle as his daughter, and so they followed her, and she was able to save them. But they take a little bit of information and they twist it into their own mythology, which doesn't make sense in context because they haven't spent the same amount of time trying to develop it.
Are you talking about Éowyn?
No, it wasn't Éowyn.
No, because Éowyn, you're talking about like this.
Yeah, are you talking about the war? But I'm trying to find out what character she's talking about. Are you talking about in the war, the Helm Hammerhand and the daughter that he had?
I'm trying to remember.
I'm just curious.
I'll remember it at some point.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just that I really wanted to ask LD and Script and Jane, where do y'all think this dialogue comes from? I mean, I know we said that they're trying to sound Tolkienian, but it's just so off the mark. It's like, do they not have a supervisor, someone who's sitting there going, yeah, this is shit? I mean, the whole
if they did, they're not listening to them.
Right, but the sea is always right. They contradict themselves in every episode. That's bad enough, but then they do it inside the episode. I mean,
it's an effort to try and be more clever than they are intelligent, and it's
gotcha.
There's no thought to it. The other part too, and this is kind of a curse when you're writing in teams, is that sometimes you randomly throw out an idea that sounds good at the time, and everybody gets really excited with it, but they don't have enough of the discipline to really break it down and see, okay, is this actually the best idea or the best decision to make for this show? Sometimes just get so wrapped up into it, they just want to commit to the idea and not work on it any harder. And if I'm sounding weird, it's because I've literally been up for about 7 minutes.
Well, this dialogue it's the opposite of what they want to go for. Because my example before is like, where's the horn now is blowing? Where's the horse and the rider? That sounds good on its own, and it gives you a visual, and then you kind of figure out you kind of feel what that means. But when they say things like you can't slake your thirst with seawater, it's like you have to take that and they have to go in there and dig up what the meaning is, because it takes you a minute. Because they say things so confusingly and so weird, so inhuman.
It's kind of like
always right. The sea is always right.
It's kind of like those people, like, and I'm sure you guys have met them in your life. Like I've met a few in my life where they're just not as intelligent as they want to be, so they kind of speak and write in a more like intelligent way, because like they'll go and check the thesaurus for a certain word or whatever and replace it with that word to make themselves look and feel more intelligent than they are. So that's how this show feels to me. Like the writing is like, oh, I'm gonna try and come up with like the best, most epic line, and then they come up with like the sea is always right or something, and you're like, what? Like that's
or you gotta to find the light, you gotta touch the darkness. I mean, I got a tempest within me. Every one of their lines, it's forget even the
one-liners.
The lore has been completely butchered. There should be no horses there. Numenorians had horses on the island.
wait, hang on, George, because we solved the mystery of that. George, we solved the mystery. It's been solved. But first, let me show you guys, because we're talking about these boats here. So let me show the audience what we're talking about. So these boats here, we're expected to believe the 3 boats carried how many?
500 men. 500
men, yeah.
Okay, so 500 men, total? 500 horses.
500 men, 500 horses.
Yeah. 500 men,
70-foot
horses. Yeah, and then they also obviously carried probably food and like things like that, armor, weapons, hay for the horses. Probably. I mean, you gotta feed the horses.
Anyone with a working functioning brain probably asking, Where are they keeping all this stuff? In comparison, I know I showed you a clip from the movie Troy a second ago. Now that's the the ancient thing. Oh, the war that launched 1,000 ships. Now 1,000 ships probably carried around maybe 50,000 men, which means each ship probably carried a crew around 50 guys, give or take. But this, in order for like 500 men to fit on 3 ships,
very Norwegian design.
This would have to work.
We figured it out.
It would have to be like this.
Right, but what I was talking, that's hilarious. But I'm saying, like, these guys even destroyed the cannon. Numenorians had horses on the island, okay, but they never used them for war because they were seafaring. All their wars, when you read the Unfinished Tales, Tolkien states, the Numenorians, when they got to Middle-earth and they had made their small colonies, they only used them for pleasure riding or sport. That's it. They never took them to war.
Yeah, they're the British.
Right.
It's all about the British Navy.
Right. Only later towards their fall did they use light archers on horses. I know that's
and I had a couple of questions. Like, how long did it take them to go from Numenor to the south? Because
the show 2 days.
2 days, okay.
Which is like teleportation is real there because it's 1,800 miles by that ship.
It took like not that long. Like I was like, I don't understand like why how they're going so fast. That and then also how did they know where to go from where they landed? Like I was like, they just seem to know where they're
I can
going.
answer the speed question. These are sails, and Galadriel says a lot of hot air, so she's probably just shouting at the sails, and that's how they're able to propel themselves so quickly. As for where to go, that one I haven't yet figured out.
It was odd, wasn't it? I mean, come on, it's like they had satellite, intelligence. Like they're right over there. But I think the funniest part was when you had right in the beginning. I think it was in the first 6 minutes. You had Galadriel. She's talking to a seal door about humility, and I was like,
"Yes,
on a chicken bone." I'm like,
I saw that.
Come on, let me click that right. She didn't just say that.
Like, wait a minute.
Wait, I'm pulling up that scene. So this is the scene you're talking about, right?
It totally fits with Rings of Power because Galadriel is telling him, "Hey, be humble," which is coming from Galadriel, who is never humbled, never humiliated, never ever in any way has to bend the knee to anyone. In fact, we've noticed several times that it's even in a place, like I think it's like second or third episode, probably third, even in a place where she's with that other guy, that Secret King man. I can't remember these names, but like they're both in
Halbrand?
Halbrand, yeah.
Sauron.
They're both in the same position of power before the Numenorian queen. Of course, you have a queen. Only Halbrand is humbled and humiliated, not Galadriel.
God damn it, literature devil! It's Halbrand.
I remember she's saying it to Isildur because if she said it to any of the other characters, their natural response should be, "Who the hell are you to talk about humility?"
Right.
Exactly. Right. The running theme of this whole thing is only men are the ones that get humbled and humiliated and stomped on. No women do that. All the women like, "You go, girl." When it comes to men, they get humiliated and stomped on constantly.
Look at this shot. Like, she's just such a bitch. Like, she's just always like this, like, I don't know. It's like she's got to stick up her butt, and the other guy is like totally simping for her. Like, look at the look in his eyes. He's like, "Oh my God, I wish I could be you. I wish I could grow a pair of tits."
I totally want to see like a Karen speech, but like in their Rings of Power dialogue. Like, one does not object to a raging volcano. Now give me thy manager. Or something like
that. You shall not object to the tempest in me. Now let me see your manager.
There's a tempest in me. You sold my son this? Okay, at full price when clearly you had a coupon.
Like, I would say that they hate. I mean, the way that they're writing it, it feels like they hate the characters in the show. I mean,
they hate men.
They hate the male characters.
They hate the material. They hate the. I can't. That's how it feels to me. Or they're just that can't be that incompetent with that much.
No, they
money.
do. They do. They hate the material because they hate this. That's what's so bizarre about it. If you wanted your feminist thing, there were characters that I guess they don't own that they couldn't use.
There's a ton of
their own thing to twist it. But this is how they view how storytelling should be.
I mean, if they wanted
these
strong
women with this attitude and the men absolutely useless.
Well, I mean, there are female characters throughout the entire Legendarium that are badass. I mean, you're talking some are devious, some are violent, some are smart, intelligent, and violent, and devious, some are noble. I mean, Tolkien, the one thing that I have also noticed is the fact that throughout these last few hours is the major conflicts that Tolkien talked about in the Silmarillion, in this age, of the immortality and death, the jealousy of the humanity to the Eldar, and turning their backs on God, on Eru. All of those philosophical questions that make the books timeless, they're not having any of those conversations. Like, it's all surface shallow.
The problem is that a lot of that is also rooted in the Bible as a foundation.
Correct.
And they are not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Because you don't hear Eru's name. It's like
that's interesting,
once.
Jane.
I mean,
they mentioned the Valar, but they haven't explained what they are.
Right. But that's the other problem. We talked about it. Remember a few weeks ago, Jay? It's like they'll throw out these names. They'll just throw out Moriondor, or they'll talk about Namath. They'll throw out names of lore, like the name of the episode, Udun. You know, that's like the little valley inside the Black Gate of Morgoth. They'll throw, or it was also, what was it? It was the first, it was the secondary name for the fortress of Morgoth called Utumno. So they'll throw out these names, Valar, but they won't tell you which Valar. They won't explain what the Valar are, or Fëanor's hammer, or the Silmarils. They're expecting everyday audience members to know what the hell is going on. So they have to either stop the show and try to look stuff up, or read the books, or just go, okay, I'm going to go on. I don't get it. And then for Tolkien fans, it's not even an Easter egg. It's more of an insult. So I don't know who they're writing this for.
The whole thing is insulting. What they're doing to Galadriel is insulting. And the fact that they're trying to make her and Halbrand like a dark version of out of my head just that quick, of Aragorn. It's
and
just
Arwen.
And Arwen, like they're the dark version.
Right.
I know, dude.
Characters.
I knew they were gonna ship these two together. Like, it was like they're weird. They're weird, and they want to do weird things. It's like a really
because she had a daughter by this point, you understand? She was married to Celeborn and had Celebrian. I mean,
by the way, you guys, I just accidentally caught a scene of her smiling. So because she's being all pompous in this scene, and she's like, "Yes, like I'm the best." So
usually happy when the happiest is
same smile recently.
It's Galadriel's usually happiest when she's talking down to men.
Yeah, that's why she's happy. What were you saying, Script Doctor? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I saw Bette Midler do that smile recently in Hocus Pocus 2. Baring those teeth and not having
oh my god!
Oh, Bette Midler did it better. Bette Midler could have played this role with more likability.
Well, correct.
Wow, that is true.
She's happiest when talking down to men and riding on horseback.
Yes, she's very happy on horseback, like extremely happy.
And then she calms down afterwards. I don't know why. I don't know what happens.
It's because she has an orgazm, and then she's like, "I'm done now."
Well, yeah. So she's literally happy when she's on her high horse.
Yeah.
But did you notice even the Foley artist failed in this episode? There's a scene where she's wiping, her favorite phallic symbol, her brother's dagger. She's wiping the blood off the blade on cloth, and it makes metallic noise.
Oh my god! No, I didn't pay attention to that.
I'll show you because it just stood out for me. It just
they would do that because it's like, oh, that's like the same sound of when you unsheath a sword. It's the same. It's because it's leather. It's like, no, there's a metal ring around it to protect.
It's right before she talks to Half Price Sauron, to Halbrand. In the end, before they get on there, when they were shipping each other and doing the googly eyed thing on the little grass mound.
Wait, they're being shipped on the ship?
No, they weren't.
They're being shipped on the ship. Check out this scene. I just caught this line. It feels like the coming of night.
What is this dialogue? It's awful dialogue.
This is the dialogue.
It's so awful.
The dialogue that we're watching.
Okay, so speaking of more dialogue, okay, so there's this thing. Now the thing is, I don't talk about this much, but I actually do have a degree in this stuff. And one of the things that we took in college was we went over the structure of dialogue and speech. So it's not just me blithering on about nothing. It's not just my opinion. This is actually stuff I learned in college and everything. And one of the examples we went over was the Martin Luther King speech. Now listen to this. Okay, read this crap. This what he's saying right here. I feel like the coming of night, and you can't say revenge with seawater or whatever. And then listen to this, like something like Martin Luther King saying something like this. With faith, with this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. So you don't have to do it in a fancy kind of structure where you sound like Yoda, but like on on drugs or something. It's not about sounding fancy. It's about using these kind of structures and these techniques to help paint a picture that's more than just the words themselves. And and one of those techniques here is that you see that with pray together, struggle to get together, it links these ideas together, ironically enough, by using similar phrases, but repetition as well. And there's a lot of like parallelism and all kinds of things like that going on in Martin Luther King's speech. That's only one good speech you can study. This is the one I remember offhand. He does stuff like this all throughout that speech, is why it's so memorable. I have a dream, blah 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 blah. I have a dream, that's I have a dream itself is actually another one of those where you have the repetition. But notice that the speech is actually very simple. The speech is actually very simple. He says to pray together, to struggle together. The speech overall is actually very simple because he wanted everyone to understand. Now compare that to the Rings of Power dialogue, which is really like weird and odd. And you go into this stuff and you like listen to them and like, what the hell did she just say? A ship, stone? What's going on here? Like you remember, like we keep going to this line that she says about seawater, and we can hardly remember it because it was so weird sounding. You have to actually go over it. One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater. Yeah, I guess, but you can't. It's not that easy to remember. It's really tough to remember because it's so weird and alien sounding and unusual. It's kind of how it goes.
It's because what you're talking about, at least what I learned in college as well, was about accessibility and the concept of power words. And it doesn't necessarily mean like the word itself is powerful. It just means you're putting the emphasis on the power. So like the Martin Luther King speech, I remember studying that in high school, and the commonality was, of course, what you said, together. That was the emphasis of it. It was about saying that together we are the same, and together we are better. Or together we are one, or together, going through all those abstracts of what it means for brotherhood and community and friends and whatnot, but also setting it up with individual actions to show how similar we all are. That was the brilliance and access of that speech, and the brilliance of access of many great speakers. Like even if you want to go to Malcolm X, he spoke quite eloquently as well, and he spoke with accessibility. And that's the concept with dialogue, is that the more accessible you make it, the less likely you are to have to repeat it. And because people will pay attention to it. And that also comes down to the performance as well. Like if you make something easy that an actor understands and knows how to present the performance, it's going to come across the way you want. The moment you start going to a thesaurus or a dictionary to try and find something more fanciful, you're now throwing people off, because you have to remember that the average lexicon is not university level. And to go back earlier when you were talking about people that use pseudo-intellectual language, I found that common among people who became professors late in life. When I went to college, we had a couple of professors who were in their 60s, men and women, and they spoke exactly the same with this very elaborate, dense dialogue.
You mean using like 25?
I'm sorry, what was that, George?
No, I understand. I'm saying like instead of using dime words, they're always going for the 25 cent.
Exactly.
And the other, like my mother did this, and this is how I knew she was an evil person. No, seriously, it's because she had no other tools to her disposal to show herself as something of a person or something of value. So she would try to rely that on her speech. And then oddly enough, when I was in college, we had to study stories, like history of story and whatnot, and we ended up seeing VHS tapes of the Harvard lectures of Jordan Peterson, and nobody in class understood them. And if you go back and watch that, he's at fault of speaking in that way, because he speaks with very dense language. But if you watch him now, he doesn't.
No, he changed.
Oh yeah,
he realized that nobody was really understanding him.
Probably because before then he was speaking to like college kids, and now he's speaking to everyone. Before college,
he changed that by the time he got to the University of Toronto.
Okay.
And I think it just has to do with the fact that
academia.
he was so used to talking to his colleagues that spoke that
Yes.
way, and he assumed that his students would be the same. But one of the things you have to understand is that a lot of kids may have university level academics or history. They don't always have the language for it. They develop that while in university, and they do it slowly.
Right.
So the more accessible you start at the beginning, the more you can get to that university level of dialogue towards the end of the tenure. And he didn't do it that way, but then he changed and he learned. And I think that's why, because he'd been doing stuff on like TVO, and he'd also been going to Parliament and making statements before, and nobody really listened to him until he realized, oh, my language might not be as accessible to the people I need it to be.
Right.
And if you read his first book, you do need a thesaurus.
I have, yeah. I think I've read his book.
And I think that's his own learning curve, because he did explode the moment where he's like, oh, I can break these ideas down to the most simplistic execution, and then I can build on top of that. And then what you do if you're a good teacher, if you're a good parent or whatnot, is you throw in a slightly more elaborate word in the context of one that's already been established by a habit. So you'll take a word like, instead of going back and forth, you'll say vacillate. And as long as you go, and you can do that in a very more organic
come
way.
together, things like that.
Yeah, these guys here, they're writing it out in normal, very like 8th grade level language, and then they're going to the thesaurus and they're swapping out words. And then they're trying to be like, how do we make it more melodic?
That's what I think is happening.
You know, I think
that's true.
They probably have like a fancy thesaurus, like how to write like.
But they could have just hired a language expert.
In my experience,
they could have, Jane.
In my experience, people who do that when they're writing are amateurish writers who don't have experience. They're people who are like beginners. Beginners do that a lot. I've noticed this. We had to do a lot of exchanges and everything with story exchanges. The new writers will just write normally, and they'll get a thesaurus and then exchange words. It doesn't have to be in the fancy genre. It's just any writer.
Right.
Usually they do this around high school, which is like high school level writing is usually like when they're really most malleable. That's when they're learning their mistakes and making the most mistakes, and their stories are usually just crap. But they usually learn from that. I'm just asking where the money went.
Professionals. Well, yeah,
they're supposed to be at this point. Yeah.
Right, but what we've learned is the fact that they're not. I mean, remember, who would hire? Like, I framed this before, but why would you hire for $1 billion production 2 guys who've never run a show of this size? Forget if I'm not talking.
You're not really spending $1 billion.
Yeah, it's like a producer style scam or something.
Right, but then why constantly advertise that? To me, that's one of the key things that has backfired on them. Because when you look online, when you talk to people, they're like, "Where did the money go?" Because it doesn't feel like that. Because who the hell knows what, an average everyday person goes, this is what $1 billion looks like.
Feels like,
But when you look at Peter Jackson's films, you go, that feels like it. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I do. Let me get the super chat real quick. Julia Scissors, thank you for the 5, says, why would there be female orcs? Did they run out of male elves and end up what?
And men to corrupt.
And men to corrupt. Doesn't make sense. Also, a nice pumpkin hat, Jane.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So cute.
There's a line where he talks about them being bred, so I guess that's where it's coming from.
Bread.
I haven't seen any female orcs yet. Have you guys seen?
I haven't.
I thought there was 1 or 2.
I haven't seen it.
There also half. There are half orcs.
Did you notice how many people which I've never seen this before in a show? I don't know if I'm nitpicking here, but in this episode and in the last episode, I saw in 2 scenes at the tower where they were, and in the village where they were copying people. Like the same guy was in a frame to the left. Like, what the hell is that?
I think they did the same thing for the army, which we'll get into as well. Steve Holt for 2 says, sorry, what was that?
They're doing it in medium shots, which is that's not where you do it. But let's do the super chat. I'm sorry for interrupting that.
Oh, that's okay.
Eric, my bearings right
Eric Bana is greater than Brad Pitt. I disagree, Steve Holtz. What about you guys? Jane, especially because you're a woman.
I like Brad Pitt a lot. I don't know.
Do you agree about this greater than?
It's a tough call.
It's not that tough, Jane.
It's a tough call.
It's wrong.
It's a tough call.
Depends. Do you like blondes or brunettes?
Blondes.
I may have to give that one to Eric.
Oh no way, Jane! You're out. No, I'm just joking.
I have that
whole dark handsome thing going.
I
So
feel you.
what we're, just to get back a little bit to what we were talking about with dialogue and why we're getting stuff of this nature. Yes, I strongly believe that they're rewriting their lines with a thesaurus in mind, as opposed to what usually the pros will do, and sometimes what I will do, which is I will be writing the line with the intent of using the fancy word, and if I forget it, I go to the thesaurus to remind myself. And like there's a big difference there because the intent is there, and you're trying to get a certain type of flow with the sentence, and you're also trying to capture the voice of these characters. And this comes down to something I've been working on for a video about dialogue, which is it doesn't matter trying to make people talk like they talk in our world. It's that they talk well in their world, and it has to be consistent, but also has to cross the Rubicon, so to speak, so that the audience understands what you're talking about.
Right.
And
I think
while they are consistent with their terribleness in Rings of Power, we don't quite understand what the heck they're talking about.
I don't think we can understand it if they use a different. I mean, you could switch out every word in every sentence they write, and it still wouldn't make any sense.
But
You can simplify it. You can make it more, flowery. It still makes no sense in context of what they're trying to communicate. The message is wrong.
And yep.
As I was say, one of the things they're doing wrong, which is another example of amateurish writing, is they're using more of passive voice. So, one cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater. Seawater cannot satisfy your thirst. That's more active voice.
Right.
One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater, more passive. So we have to kind of think about it. What? It's a lot more tough to remember than if you say seawater cannot satisfy your thirst. Seawater won't satisfy your drinking seawater won't satisfy your thirst. It's a little easier to remember that way.
They're trying to make it sound like it's from a different time, though.
Exactly, Jane.
And it's sounding like it's from the different character, because that type of character, a character that says that, a character that talks in such a way needs to command that way to talk. So mentor characters are very good with that. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, they have each of them have different ways of speaking, and they are somewhat passive, but they also have an active aspect to it.
Correct, but he also had gravitas. Even the damn puppet had more gravitas than these actors. I mean,
oh my god, that's true.
There's no magnet. Does anyone here, forget the words, forget everything, does any one of the lead actors have any magnetism that draws you to the screen? Like, I've turned off the sound. I want to see, did anyone pull me?
I think the only
elf
person
came the closest to me.
I think the only person that was doing it for me was Durin and Disa, and more even like Durin, because I think like Durin, the actor, is doing really well with what he's got to work with. But the lines are shit. Like it's like it's just
give me the meat and give me it raw.
Yeah, to be raw.
It's terrible lines, but he's doing the best with what he's got. So like
One weird way to say don't sugarcoat it. I mean,
yeah.
What's that's funny a phrase is that from today.
You have some people now saying Jesus the best cast character.
Yeah, I was saying that because I was like, dude, I mean, like other than Disa and Durin, really, like who else is pulling their weight over here? Like nobody.
Presence-wise, I'd say Don Lemon. Even though I make fun of him, he has more presence than the other male characters. Just
if they would let him be a male.
Right, I know. I'm trying to separate out all the stuff just when you see him.
He's got that resting constipation face. Like, he doesn't have anything else. Like he's only like he's always like
But you notice they all have they all have like one mode. You have Galadriel who's like resting bitch face. Mm-hmm. You've got Elendil who's always like angry dad face. Isildur is spoiled brat face.
Yeah,
you got Bronwyn who's like, "Where's my
very
baby?"
one tone. Yeah.
Adar. Someone in the chat said Adar. I would say him if we had to pick one.
John Howell. I think
Adar,
his name is John Howell.
I think he's doing really well.
Uncle Benjamin.
Yeah.
I will say this because I accidentally just caught this. So we did get some sort of timing thing, and I accidentally just got it like while I was like trying to pause. So we did get a time frame. It's a full day sail into the mountains. That's what we were told.
What?
Well, when I looked it up, it was 1,800 miles from Numenor to the shore and 2 days charge by horse from the shoreline to the south
I
line.
mean, it's supposed to go in like a light speed.
Right, but that means they don't stop. But again, it's ridiculous because I was looking through the Unfinished Tales and the histories of Middle Earth, and it had said there was 4 times where it would take up to 3 weeks to go from Numenor.
But here's
Probably
there
like
was
70 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah, it would take
There
3
was a
weeks to go
simple
up to a month
solution.
just to get to the closest shoreline of Middle Earth. Not
There
fucking
was-
2 days.
There was a
What was
simple
that?
solution, though. I mean, we've seen a battle scene where
Mm.
Galadriel used her magic
Mm.
to move the entire fleet of
Oh, yeah.
horse faster across to wherever they were headed. But they haven't allowed her to use that magic as her strength
Yeah,
in
just
this world.
the
She's
only
just
thing
a
they-
regular soldier person.
I guess the closest they tried this episode was copying that Jackson scene where you had Arwen whispering to the horse's ear that Nodolim, which is the magic, ride faster, move faster. She did the same thing. But I don't know if that qualifies as magic or... See, I keep looking at him here. Now that Nina brought this up, it's like, yes, Your Majesty, your piss boy is here. How may I help you?
It's time for my dick flapping.
They were talking about the sail, like this is the scene. So they're talking about how long it's gonna take them to get there.
You know,
And
it'd
then
be
she's
really,
like,
you know, it'd be
tell
really
them to
bold
make
and
all
brave.
possible haste.
It'd been really stunning and brave if they made Numenor have a king, and the king was blonde, blue-eyed, and straight, and a man. That would have been bold and brave to do. in
Dude,
this
it would have
atmosphere.
been really bold if the king that they have brought with them, that they would have been like, oh, here's the king, by the way. Like,
Right.
instead of like, if the king had led the charge into the fucking battle, not Galadriel, instead of the king that they're trying to say is going to rescue their people and like take up the throne. I mean, I know that it's not, but like Halbrand is like Sauron or whatever, but
Right.
like, come
Or
on.
it would have been Farazan, because that's who it would have been anyway.
Right. That's who it should have been because yeah. But what's weird is that they also miscast people. Elendil in the books is around 7'11" to 8 feet tall.
Oh, the
Depending
Hydra
which,
law.
I mean, you're talking. I'm not obviously they're not going to go get that, but you're thinking about somebody who's bigger than the mountain from Game of Thrones. You're talking. His son was
show the
7 to
scale.
7'4". I mean, it's Galadriel was 6'4".
6-foot actor that can have some presence, like say Alan Richson. Like he's 6'2",
yeah.
and he's got presence, and you can make him look bigger because he's a big guy. But I mean, I don't want to hear him try to do a British accent.
No, but think about it. Galadriel's supposed to be 6'4". I mean, I was looking at that the other day, and I'm like, none of these people even match the physical proportions.
And they're not trying to make them either. Like the Numenorians should be massive.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
The
They're
Vikings,
not
Greeks,
showing it.
business Atlantean, quasi Vikings.
So and then this is the next scene. So like we catch up with these dudes. Yeah, we catch
I
up with
knew all
these
in the
dudes,
family.
and they're like, if all goes bad, let's meet up at the bar. And I'm like, okay, so this is really funny to me actually, because we like at first we start out with Persian girl, and she's all like, she's like a healer, whatever. Nobody like takes her seriously, whatever. And then like now it's starting to like all make sense because that old dude, the one that betrayed them all, like that left, was the bartender, and this was like his bar. And then when she came and was like, here's the orc's head, and she like put it on his like bar thing, and then everyone was like, oh no, like the orc or whatever. It's like these people, like the town is so small that they don't really have a mayor, or like they don't have like a an official that actually like owns the town or something
But
like that.
it's
Like,
only because they're stupid. Because they would
have a
have
mayor.
a chief. They would have a chief and a mayor or some
yeah,
type
like
of
a
leader.
chieftain or something. They don't have anything like that. And then they're like, city center is the bar. So they're like, everybody just go to the tavern. Like, and that's it.
Well, maybe
Like,
they're a
it's
tribe of men that rely on the witch doctor, and since Bronwyn's the closest thing to that, they just gravitate towards her.
It's the only way to make her the leader is to not have a man who is a leader, who would normally be the leader of this
Who
town.
needs to stand on a 2-foot pillar to be tallest one in the frame?
Oh my
I have a
God.
question. Has anyone, a script, ever fired like the entire production crew for like a new season? Like this didn't work. Like that's the only way I could see Amazon saving this. Okay, we got rid of
Sliders.
everyone.
Oh,
that to sliders.
yeah.
You
I
think
think
that's
got
a
rid of everybody. I
possibility?
think Mark Zickery put together a team of him and 3 other people and revamped the show. But yeah,
Is that a
that's-
possibility in 2023, 2022?
and well, with the type of people and
George.
how they identify, and to get their jobs, no, you terminate them. They have ample ground to claim discrimination as opposed to merit.
Really? If you fire everyone and say this isn't working, everybody's going?
Well, if you're talking about like the writing team,
No, I'm talking about showrunners, directors, everybody. I'm like, is everybody?
well, directors aren't really under contract for an entire season. They're usually contracted per show because the directors have technically the least voice in a production. For television.
I thought they're supposed to have the control over a show. Okay.
No. On television, directors, they rotate in and out. It's basically they're just there to say action cut, take it faster, take it slower. That's all you need to do on a.
That sounds good.
It's not like a movie. It's not like a film where the director has it's okay.
No, but some people do treat it like a film, which is funny because you have a director named David Nutter who's a very good director, but he only directs pilots because he doesn't like to. I mean, sometimes he'll direct another episode here and there, but he mostly directs pilots because he likes to go off and just enjoy the $10,000 per episode that he gets as a result of directing the pilot, and that's negotiable. I think it's like up to like almost 15 or 20,000 now.
Gotcha.
But also, like if they were gonna fire people, though, Script, wouldn't they just like at this point, like if Bezos was gonna be like, look, I didn't get the results I wanted with this fucking show, everybody hates it, fucking that House of Dragon show destroyed us, and I'm not impressed. He could shelve the show, like he doesn't have to like.
See, I don't think he'll do that because he'd be embarrassed. That's why I was at. Think about.
He doesn't have to fire anybody. You could just shelve it and be like, maybe we just won't.
They're supposed to start pre-production October 7th for season 2.
Really?
I don't know what pre-production means because they were saying they're starting filming and then they said it's pre-production. So I don't know.
Well, pre-production is like building sets, costumes, getting the final parts of the casting, table reads, little bits of rehearsal, transportation, lots of little stuff here. I mean, he can. Bezos or anyone he appointed in front of the show, he can get rid of everybody with regards to them working on the show, but there is going to be some people who will always be associated with it, even if they're not allowed in the offices, and they can always
like the showrunners. I would think they would dump the whole thing on the showrunners, since the showrunners have stated Bezos gave us 100% responsibility. Everything you see on screen is us. We are responsible.
Dude, I mean, other than the showrunners, they really need some new costume people because what the fuck?
It's Wheel of Time crap. It's Wheel of Time crap.
So bad.
It is. And here's the other part too, is that they can do all this, but what we're seeing here is kind of we're seeing why corporate business doesn't always translate well with creative ambition. And we're probably going to see similar things with David Zaslav at Warner Brothers.
Really?
And also,
I thought he's going to fix everything because he wanted whatever worked.
But he's never worked in fiction before. He's worked in a form of fiction of reality TV, but he's never worked in actual creative fiction that doesn't try to pretend to be reality TV. The same thing with Bob Chapek. He knows how to do the politics, but the other part too is you need to have a balance of, okay, I may not be a creative person, but I know what sells. And if I get a good enough idea for me, I will know this will sell. This is the direction we need to go. The problem is that a lot of guys in the power are now saying, well, I know what sells, so I can use that information to conjure up something creative that will fit the algorithm of what sells, which is not how it works. You really need to be having someone with a very vivid imagination to present ideas that are so good where when you see them, they complete the formula of how to sell something. Because you should have the formula of like, this is the formula I need to sell something. X is the algebraic mystery that I have to fill in. The creative person fills in X, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is how awesome the creative thing is. We have a Lord of the Rings. Okay, so we have Lord of the Rings. We can sell that on name brand recognition. Then we have an interesting cast of characters. Then we have an interesting goal. Then we have all the flair that we can go about it. We can do costumes, we can do sets, we can do swords, we can do weapons, we can do toys. All those things come after the fact, but what we have here is the reverse of this. It's like, okay, we have Lord of the Rings, we have costumes, we got sets, we got actors and everything. What story can we tell? We got nothing. And it's like, that is the hardest part to figure out, the story in and of itself. What is the message? How is it the hero's journey? Is it a underdog hero rising to power? Is it a fallen hero trying to make amends for mistakes? It's all of we don't know. And we are 6 hours in. We've literally almost elapsed the time of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, and nothing has happened aside from a volcano erupting in
Think
a way
about
that
that.
it should not erupt because there's no cap to create pressure.
We've literally not heard a word about a ring. Like the show is called The Rings of Power, and we haven't even heard like the word ring inside the
called
fucking...
Mithril 19 or something. I don't know.
Right. Now, those are the the mithylchlorians. I've heard that. It's like, come on, a medical cure-all? And what are they going to do? Rub it, eat it, shine? And it's like, come on. But I think that's what they were actually referring to in the show. He's like, Sauron was looking for this dark craft to have power of flesh. And like, okay. So they have marvelized mithril. It's going to be their vibranium. They're going to find it like, this is what he needed.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh my god, it's true.
Probably.
And Halbrand is into like that metal melting shit, just like Galadriel's into like riding horses. Like they've got like this really weird thing going on. Like he's just like, I don't know. He's weird.
To me, if they had an editor, like they had someone running things, a show called The Rings of Power should have started off with the whole thing about the Rings of Power. Like just, of course they don't know exactly yet because it was a whole deception thing, but it should have been about, all about, there's something happening. And that it should have been like episode 1, Mithril. Okay, what are you doing with Mithril? That sort of thing. That's how it's usually done. But now it's like we're on episode 6, and there's been like almost nothing about any sort of rings or.
There's no rings. There's no mention of a single ring or anything.
There's nothing. But you could do something quite interesting. It might be a little blasphemous to Tolkien, but nowhere near as this, which is that you have one kingdom somewhere elsewhere, and a messenger delivers a ring to the king. He puts it on. And all of a sudden, he starts acting different and behaving strangely, and you realize, oh, Sauron's testing out his magic through this ring before he makes the entire set. And we have this fair mystery where we see that the moment that ring is worn, that's when the king changes, or whoever the test subject changes, and then we build from there. And then we just let that be kind of a background.
Right, but that's why they've made a mistake also with the name of the show. Because one of the showrunners had stated, which I couldn't believe this 3 weeks ago, that season 1 is supposed to be one long prologue. Like how Peter Jackson had, like how how like Peter Jackson had the 15 minutes in Fellowship of the Ring?
They have like 10
remember
hours.
Remember we talked about that script? That was their pitch. They said that prologue, that's what we want for a show. But this is season 1 is a prologue, so that's why they keep saying, "Be patient, be patient." This is all character world building in season 1.
Are you serious, dude? And then they're gonna have a 2-year wait until like the next.
Right, but that's why you get
give me a break.
That's why you get the ones that Amazon is paying, who get the interviews with the actors on their shows. They keep saying they have one line. Even the OneRing.net keeps saying it all over. So I'm not. They're saying every series. Well, no, they say every series doesn't get good until season 3, and I'm like, what?
That is untrue.
It's very
hang
untrue.
on, Jane, if only.
Which?
Like if you don't hook us with something, but in season 1, you're done. Like there's no, we're going to give you 3 years to no.
Yeah.
Hey, do you really think that would happen, Jane? Do you really think that it would get canceled before?
I think season 3 is not coming out. I don't think season 3. I think season 2 they're going to do. They have to. So because Bezos has an ego, I just don't think. And Salky won't.
I think season 2 will be in 2 parts, and it's going to get canceled after the first part.
Oh damn!
That would be fantastic. I mean,
that would be awesome.
An expensive break of contract, but
because Elrond, the guy whoever his name is, who's playing Elrond. I've heard it twice now, and it was in an article 4 months ago that he's leaving in season 2 because he didn't want, because they wanted a contract. They wanted
he's out. He's like,
it was a 7-year. It was a 5-year or 7-year contract for all the actors, and he didn't want to do that for that long.
Maybe he's like, maybe he's like, oh, I'm out of here before my career's burned. I'm done with it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out.
I'm not 100% sure. That's why I said it.
What did you guys think of this line here?
In the end, this shadow. Oh, it's another one of the crappy dialogue. In the end, this shadow is but a small passing thing.
I thought this was taken straight out of Lord of the Rings.
No,
wasn't it?
Her son was asking her mom, "Please comfort me," and she's like, "Let me."
Why is she dealing out like this?
How many ways shall the shot? It's like, dude, I just want to care.
The son was like, "Can you
not Romeo and
comfort me
Juliet."
like
I know.
Let me count the ways. Like, no, just be a mother for once. You'd be like, hey, all right, it's be okay, son. All right, but no, she has to come out with like Freudian pseudo-intellectual dialogue.
She shouldn't even have to say anything. She should just have to embrace him.
Right there.
Yeah, why don't you just give him a hug?
Kiss, hug, something.
She's the worst mom. She's just like,
the point is here. Right,
every female character has to just every time there's a challenge, they have to just vomit out this weird dialogue. It's like something like
you're
this.
right. You can see the point.
Yeah, well, because she's been doing Hi-Ho Silver with
she's
Don Lemon.
Banging that dude.
I found that clip because I had it in my video. I couldn't find it here, where you can hear it. It's just the most god awful thing I don't know why. I know compared to everything else that's happened in the show, it's nothing. But it just drives me crazy. Here, see if you can. Did you hear that?
Oh my god! Wait, is that the thing that was wrapped? Or like, is that the thing that was wrapped?
That's a piece of cloth, and she's.
Yeah, but is there an axe inside the cloth?
No.
Oh,
no, this is something different. See?
Wouldn't matter.
Oh my god, you're right.
I'm like.
In her hand falls.
What the fuck?
What the hell is that? It's like I'm like even the Foley artists didn't do their job. Like
it reminds me of that scene in like one of the scary movies where the guy holds a shovel and then he cocks it like a shotgun. Like that's done for a joke, specifically for a joke. This one is done without any. It's just time to think that is cool. It's like, no. See, I mean, even when you pull a sword out of a person that you're fighting on the battlefield, you're getting a sound similar to that because it's scraping against the armor you penetrated.
Right.
You said penetrate.
Yes.
Do any of these, Script, you work with Hollywood and you work in Hollywood.
I've been to Foley studios. They're awesome.
Okay, so how does is someone given that kind of an order? Like
a television is the showrunner that gives them the order, and it's also by way of the script because sometimes they'll put sound, cues in a script.
And they can't say, "Guy, this doesn't work. It's cloth." This is gonna make me look like an idiot.
You can. You absolutely can. The problem is that if you say it and the person's a little short on humility, they will fire you. Which some Foley artists don't care because most of the ones that you're dealing with, they own the studio that you're using or renting out. So it's like, yeah, okay, go find another studio. We'll fill this spot within 15 minutes because somebody always needs them.
When someone went to them and said, "Hey, we're going to do like 10 episodes as a prologue," they should have been fired immediately.
I know.
If they got episode 1, maybe episode 1 can be like your little prologue, but it better be leading up to it. It better end. In fact, episode 1 better end with something about the Rings of Power, and then every episode after that should be something about the Rings of Power.
No,
right? The show would be more accurate if it was called Lord of the Rings Galadriel. That's would be way more accurate.
They should have just called it Galadriel. Like that. That should have been the name. But this is what I mean, though, with this actor. Look, like resting the constipation face.
Which is ironic because I don't know how you rest constipation.
He always has that face on, yeah.
He's acting like Edward in Twilight, where whenever he's around Bella.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, I can't hold my breath. Yeah, no, I get you. That's perfect.
Oh my god, look, I went 2 scenes ahead. This is a completely other scene. But it's the same scene. It's the same. It's the same expression.
It's like look dramatic. Okay, here's my dramatic face.
He did do some capoeira in this episode. Some of those spins. He kept promising that he was going to do it. I was like, "Yeah, you got Elven capoeira masters now." I was like, "That's interesting, Brazilian martial arts." It was
okay. Wait. Here's another scene. Here's another scene where she's not even there. He's waiting for the orcs to show up. He looks exactly the same.
He brought one face to this. He's only been paid enough for one face.
That's it.
He's only been written for one face. I mean, all the characters, they're very singularly, they're at best singular dimensional.
Do you know what's interesting is that this week there was an article that stated that I didn't know the Russo brothers were up to be the showrunners, but it was Simon Tolkien who said that it was Payne and McKay that their pitch came closest to what he envisioned. So he voted for them.
Their pitch was basically recycling what Jackson already showed people.
Right, but everybody else had different idea. Like supposedly
the Russo, probably better.
Do you think the Russo brothers would have done better with what they did with Winter Soldier, and
I'd have to see what their pitch is. But here's the other part too. That I mean, we're seeing tragically a flaw of fandom where two con artists came in and said, "Yeah, we're going to give you what Peter Jackson did," and the fans like, "Yeah, great, good." A real producer who's heard that be like, "We already saw that. I don't want to see what Peter Jackson did. Show me something new." That's the difference. There's the flaw right there. We had someone who was, because again, you can fool a fan. We've seen J.J. Abrams do it twice to a lot of Star Trek fans and Star Wars fans. It's not a fault of the fans because you want those feelings. You want to have that experience
nostalgia
brought back and explored a bit more. And what you end up having is a group of people that have figured that out and said, "Oh, you want those feelings? I'll give you those feelings, and I'll make sure that they feel in the advertisement as close to what you experienced in the theater that first time." But the thing that they're missing is they don't understand what that is, how to actually grow and build off of it and do something new that will build that fandom. Like if Star Wars was just Star Wars, like that first film, that'd be fine. It'd be great. But the worst thing that you could do is make Star Wars again as the second film. And a lot of fans basically, I remember reading the fan fiction that was published in 79 and 80. It was basically it was like Return of the Jedi to a degree, another Death Star, another big thing that Luke had to blow up.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's all that they saw. That was their baseline of the familiarity is, we just do what they did again. But then we got Empire. And Empire was vastly different from the first Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost unrecognizable, except that's the same characters and they're on a similar journey, a new arc. Like that's kind of how you do sequels to a degree, is you don't repeat the plot. You just bring the characters into a brand new story and we see how they experience it. And hopefully the information that they learned in the previous story informs them of how to behave in this one. And then you bring them new challenges to challenge what they learned. And fan writing often doesn't get that unless you've become more versed in storytelling and the functions and why we have them the way we do. And then you're like, oh, well, I see these opportunities within this universe with this fandom to really build on top of what we've already established and carry it further without betraying what came before. The J.J. Abrams acolytes don't care about that.
No,
they're very much in the whole.
It's like it's copy and paste. They took a lot of scenes. It's like there were a couple of scenes that I saw from the Seven Samurai, from Kurosawa's Samurai in this episode. I'm like,
George,
what the hell are they doing?
It's crazy.
They took some from
crazy that you
Jackson's.
say that, because I was thinking like this is familiar. Then when you said that, I was like, damn, that's probably what it was.
The envy and jealousy of seeing something awesome and saying, oh, I wish I could do that. And instead of following up with, I wish I could do something better than that, they go, I'll just do that. Because that's the other thing. That's what I loved. Oh, God. Between 2008 and 2012, me and all my writer friends, we'd be reading scripts or we'd go to movies at the ArcLight and whatnot. And we'd see something awesome and we'd be like, oh, I wish we thought of that. And then instead of saying, let's do it again, we're like, can we take that better? Can we do something like that, but better? How do we make something different that can hit that same emotional mark or what have you? It was never, let's just put that in our script.
Right.
We never, it was.
So is that laziness or jealousy or both?
A little, yeah, absolutely. Both of those.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Martin. Parody, yeah.
What is it?
Sorry, Swift.
I'm sorry. It's different from parody. Sometimes you'll see something that is in a very straightforward movie and you're like, okay, I wish I thought of that. But when I'm looking at it, it's like, it's also kind of funny. So what I'll do is I'll take that, I'll make the joke and I'll create it as a parody because now you've transformed it into something new. And now you're actually showing reverence for it, especially if it's not an insult to the thing, but you're just finding a very clever joke out of it. And now you're creating a parody, you're creating something new, you're presenting it in a new context. And if it's part of the zeitgeist, other people will see it, get it, and laugh. And that's why I think one of the best parodies is Young Frankenstein out there. It's brilliant. It came out the right time where everybody saw the Boris Karloff films.
Right.
And all it's doing is it's showing love for the genre, but it's making all these very clever jokes around it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's what She-Hulk is trying to do, but like failing extremely badly because they're just so bad at
I think they're trying to parody too many things that they haven't figured out what it is. And I would not be surprised if one of their agents is this horrible person I met who I met her when she was 20. She dressed like a 90-year-old grandma.
Oh my
And
god.
she did not understand that. She thought that if you're doing a parody or if you're doing any comedy, you couldn't mix in satire, farce,
What?
or shtick.
I
She
guess
said
she
you had to
never
do
saw
one
Mel
of the
Brooks.
three. And her basis for that is like, oh, I took a course at Second City. It's like you weren't paying attention then.
You took a terrible course or something.
Like I've not only taken courses at Second City, I've spoken with some of the greatest comedians in our world. I've worked with Joan Rivers. Like, you know,
Oh, that's cool.
like you don't. I mean, I was like, what? Your credentials are terrible, and how are you a person that works in comedy for a studio and you not realize that you can do all three? It's all about the balance and how you weave it in. Like you can do a parody, which basically is a genre type thing, and then you can execute it in a satirical way, and in that satire you can throw in farcical events. Like that's just it's a 3-point formula that you can do. And what we're getting with She-Hulk is they don't know which show they're parodying.
No.
They don't know which genre they're parodying. They don't know how to execute a balance between farce, satire, and shtick. They just don't. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, just like this show too. I mean, like it just seems like nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Real quick, let me get the super chat. Martin Guerra, thank you so much for the $10. Says so. Rings of Power is dead for everyone, right? Normies, media lovers, and fans. I can't imagine any interest for the show. I think Lofty likes it.
There's a lot of people pretending to like the show.
There's a lot of advertising.
Well, there are a lot of shows being paid, and you'll notice that they either will say that they're sponsored by Audible, not mention that Audible is owned by Amazon,
yeah.
Or they will have a lot of the actors, because the actors are doing. I've never seen actors do this many rounds of YouTube. They'll go each week onto multiple of the show's accounts going, hey, we're here today with the guy who plays Gil Galad. We're here today with Bronwyn. We know that.
If they get one on, then if they're that desperate.
It's weird though, because I think like for normies, like to be completely honest with you, like as far as I know, like all my normie friends aren't watching it. And it wasn't like one of those things where they're not watching it because they watched the first episode and they thought it sucked. They just never started because they were like, they didn't like the trailers or they thought it was stupid looking. They just never started it at all.
Even the trailers make it look boring.
Yeah.
It's just all about talking and walking and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then like there was some normies that like kind of asked, they were like, wait, so this is before Lord of the Rings? And then, you know, when the answer was yes, like this, like a prequel, like, and they're like, wait, before The Hobbit? And then you're like, yes. And then they're like, I don't care. Like, it's just like people don't care. Normies don't really care about it.
There's no water cooler talk about this. I've been to, I said this on someone's channel the other day, 7 different offices this week. They're talking about House of the Dragon or politics, what's going on in the world. I asked anybody, Rings of Power? And the one person said, you're asking that because you have a YouTube channel. I said, yeah, I want to know. Are any of you talking about it? And half of them are like, what is that? The other half are like, yeah, I watched the first episode and I was done. One girl said her kid liked it, who's 12. But that was it.
Well, here's an idea. Like,
I thought maybe he was special, so I'd let it go.
Oh, shit.
In Lord of the Rings, what is actually the conflict? Remember the original 3 movies? It's you have this ring.
Yeah.
Sauron wants the ring. We got to destroy the ring before this. You know, the war is coming. Got to destroy this ring before he gets it back. That's a conflict. We're fighting Sauron. That was it.
Yeah.
What's happening in Lord of the Rings? We're fighting Sauron. We're going on this fellowship to destroy Sauron. Basically, that's what it is. You destroy the ring, destroy Sauron. What's the actual main conflict of the Rings of Power? It's not them fighting Endor.
Galadriel's butt hurt.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, this is like
vengeance.
The conflict is that she wants to find Sauron.
For her brother,
right?
The conflict is that she wants to fight and she can't stop.
Right.
The thing is, there is no central conflict tying all the stories together. It's just crap happening.
No, I got it, Literature Devil. The conflict is Galadriel's greater than all men ever. That's it.
That's because she's so awesome.
She's got to teach men to rise up.
I think maybe she's just transitioning, you know.
The thing is, had they kind of like when I said we should have had a central conflict, we should have had something about the Rings of Power by the end of the first episode. But they should have gone ahead and revealed Sauron's existence, like that he's alive. He, set him up as the main bad guy at the end of episode 1. That way we have a central goal. Okay, there is a bad guy, but no, they decided to go with, oh, who's Sauron? He's back, but who is he? So it's not
Right.
Andor, like this Andor guy, Andar, whatever his name is.
Which one?
He's not the
Star
central
Wars?
conflict guy. What is it?
Adar.
Andor?
Adar.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Andor. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting confused. Like it's Andor, Adar, like this. They kind of
It's
recycled
no
the name.
different. They're interchangeable.
Finally
Just
seen
change
it
what-
built up that has an accent like me.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
what-
You guys, we have to start calling Andor Andor.
Andor. Yeah,
Well,
we
think
go.
about it. They spent $285,000 because that's what the dialect coach said, to teach them all how to say, Numenor and Elendil
God.
and Isildur. And I was like, that much money?
Yeah.
I was like,
Archangel, but they won't get actual writers though. Archangels for $20. Thank you for the very generous super chat. Watch EFAP rip on the show for 6 hours. Took a break for dinner. Now watching you all rip into it as well. Wow, that's awesome. This show is written by a toothpaste flavored donut, and it's humiliating to the concept of storytelling. That is not the truth.
The
Thank
EFAP
you.
on this was
Hell.
absolutely, I mean, it had me on the
favorite
floor. It was the best episode.
Which one, Jane?
The latest EFAP episode.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my
I
god,
was
I need
dying.
to watch it. I need to watch it.
I just realized what they reminded me of. Y'all were talking about people who use, they'll go to the source, LD, and script. And I was thinking, they remind me of those books that you would see in the airport, in the little bookstores that they have in some of the airports, the bigger ones, where it said, 101 or 1,001 or 10,001 phrases to sound smart.
Oh god, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
those.
yeah.
yeah.
I remember
That's
those.
what I'm
yes.
thinking. That's what they did. They're like, okay, pull
Yeah,
this
I
line.
think so too. That's what I'm saying. I think they've got like those fancy, like a fantasy thesaurus, and they're like, we need to figure out like what this word means in fantasy style, like talk. And then we can like,
What
write
did
this
Chaucer
thing.
say? Okay.
Yeah,
Exactly, Chaucer.
totally. Oh. Niche.
And then make it sound like a wise man was saying.
Dude, Jane, speaking of freaking dying like on the floor, and I was like, I mean, I was laughing so hard at the scene. I was like, is this supposed to be funny? Because I was laughing. He got like freaking coomed on, man. Like, I was like, what? The
He's going to become an orc next
He
week.
still has the same face on.
He's there.
Why did he keep his mouth open?
I know.
Good
Why didn't he
question.
close his mouth?
Because he's a swallower.
We gotta get the gross stuff in.
Oh, damn.
That
George.
shot, that goo doesn't look like it's actually part of the actual shot, like it was added in later.
It was
Kinda does a little
CGI.
bit. It does look
my
CGI a little bit.
God.
I can't tell. I can't tell.
Well, the lighting of it doesn't match the.
Everything's
doesn't
so
feel
fake on here.
comparable.
I'm not surprised.
Wait, let me go back. What do you mean? Like he
He's
was
saying it's
added?
fake. Like
No, I'm
it
saying
was-
the goo is fake.
Oh,
right.
the goo is fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got
kinda
too
does. It
sharp.
looks like it.
It just doesn't look like underneath where the nose is and around the lips and mouth. It looks like it's layered on top. It doesn't feel like
Oh,
it's
like
part of the
It
actual
kind of
shot.
does, yeah.
Plus, it's
It
2022. These
You're
actors
right.
today are wusses. You can't do that to me. I got.
Like, what? I'm not contrary for Fear Factor. You can't put black blood in my face.
How do I know it's black blooded, not tainted with something?
Exactly.
I know.
Doesn't mean they
Well,
did
well, I
have
could
fake
say-
flies. So
Like, we've gone a long way since the era of Wizard of Oz, where the Tin Man got poisoned by his own makeup. Like,
Oh,
So yeah, you guys were right though. So like, okay, so they attacked the village, and then the whatever the ones that didn't die in the tower for some fucking reason like came in masses and attacked the village. Don Lemonlass like tried to be a hero but couldn't do it really, and then was saved by Persian Girl.
of course, she was.
She was just, she's just tired of those hijabs, man. She's like, I'm tired of the hijab. I'm tired of all men. I'm gonna kill you all. Then
she gets shot. Then she gets shot with an arrow.
Didn't she get shot? Yeah.
She
That's
almost
what
died
happened.
because 10 minutes later, after being on death's door, she's walking out. Hey, everybody! Thank you.
Oh yeah.
for-"
Okay.
That was a
Wait.
good part.
I didn't get this part because so what happened was I actually didn't understand what the hell was going on because they were like, oh wait, what the fuck? And then they like kind of like start looking around, and all the orcs were actually human.
Yeah.
So
half they were.
did they like release the ones that they had kept as slaves? Like I don't.
I don't get where these
No,
conspiracies
it was a trap. It was a trap. They thought they were fighting orcs, but it was all the humans who wanted to serve Sauron, but it was Andor. And so he sent them, most of them had masks on like they were orcs. That's why when the village like, we won, it's like, you're morons.
I mentioned that at the beginning.
But
of
it was still the enemy. Like, what difference does it make?
Right.
Exactly.
There's a reason why a lot of them had used torches, but some of them were orcs. So you would think that some of the orcs would need the torches. Yeah, some of them actually were orcs. The one Don Lemonor fight.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But
So all
some
the real
of them
orcs
were
fight
so
one elf,
upset.
and then all the fake orcs fight the humans.
I agree with
They
you,
were
Jane.
so
It's like, why are you so
shocked. They were
upset? I agree.
shocked by these people being human. I'm like, they left to join the enemy side. Of course, they were going to fight against you in the war. Like, that's common sense.
It's supposed to be a big twist. We're like, it's like, oh my goodness, they're actually humans. Wait a minute, that makes sense because they actually turned against them and pledged their allegiance to Sauron. So it's not really a big thing.
No.
It'd be one thing if it'd be a larger deal. They did what armies have done in the past historically, where they kind of dress up their own men, like captured enemies in their uniforms, and then send them off to the front lines to fight, so they would die in terms of cannon fodder. Like
so
these guys are actually fighting. These guys are actually fighting, and they're trying to kill their own men. They're not victims here. They died for a reason.
What would have worked better is if instead of killing off the blonde kid the way they did, have him be one of the soldiers and have her son kill him in the fight in the heat of battle, and then uncover him and realize it was his friend.
Agreed.
Don't put in real conflict.
Also, have Don Lemonor lose his eye.
Yes, that would have been cool.
And when that kid betrays everyone without giving them the sword, quote unquote, that should have been a victory for the bad guys. It would have raised the stakes. Oh, now they had this artifact. But of course, we can't have that happen because he's a protected class or whatever. So of course, immediately all stakes and all tension from that scene is evaporated because I was the wrong one. Haha, that elf guy was an idiot. He didn't check what was actually inside of it.
Wait, which scene was this that you're talking about?
I remember they're like holding him hostage. Like, give me that. He's like, give me that sword. Give me that hilt.
Right.
And then the kid is like, okay, I'll give you the hilt. And like, here it is.
It's right after his mom.
Yeah. So that because you're threatening his mom. And so apparently the kid was like, oh yeah, it's okay. Everyone else dies. Oh, you're threatening my mom? Okay, now it's time for me to betray everyone. Give you the give the hilt.
That's right.
Apparently, that was fake. Because I think they show it later that it was just an axe that
they switched it out.
They switched it out. Yeah. This part though, this part was really weird because, well, first of all, they all just seemed so useless. They were like, this chick was bleeding out. She's like, put pressure on it, and then nobody was putting pressure on it, and I was like,
everyone
wanted her to die.
They wanted her to
die. And I was like, and then there was no how much blood did she have? Because realistically, she would be dead.
She has like anime levels of blood.
Yeah, it was a lot. That's why
I can't believe I missed this. That would have woken me up.
She lost. She lost at least half her blood. It was pumping, and then the kid's like, because the elf was like, you have to do it, and he's like holding the poker or whatever to cauterize, and he's like not doing it. Finally does. That's why 10 minutes later, when the Numenorians show up with Galadriel, she's just like walking around like, you just lost half your blood, twat. What are you doing?
Like literally the next day, she's fine. Like it never happened.
I know.
Let her die and let her son take up her mantle.
Yeah, it's great. What do you call? I don't know if it's the same term, but do you know how when you're editing a video, sometimes there are jump cuts? Mm-hmm. Is there something like that in films?
Yeah, we use jump cuts.
Because I've noticed now for the 17th time in the last 3 episodes, what feels like a jump cut. Because you'll have a scene where you'll have Galadriel's chasing Andor on her horse, and Halbrand's like back at the village. Andor, Adar, whatever.
It's so close. It's so similar.
And then all of a sudden, Halbrand magically appears in front. I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? It's like you were just back at the village. You're not running. You're not doing.
It's like horror editing. It's like, oh, this guy is Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers.
Yeah. I guess we got to remember it's like Adolf. It's like Ador, Andar, whatever.
Andor, asshole.
Well, he's Sauron, so he could just appear out of thin air.
Adar,
that's
like Adolf.
true.
Yeah. So Adolf, Ador. So yeah. There we go. He's like Jordan. He's like their Jordan Peterson.
Naughty elf. It's the naughty elf.
He is their Jordan Peterson. It's totally true. Jade, you have to leave us.
Yes, I have to go watch a better show.
Okay, go
To
watch a
hell with
better
you
show.
then.
Have fun. Tell everyone where they can find you before you leave.
Yes, you can find me on YouTube. I post movie and television reviews, occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Yay! And probably in at least I don't know if you're gonna be on the panel, but probably in Gary's chat after this after the
Yeah, if
show's
I'm not on the
over.
panel, I'll definitely be in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody, if you're watching House of Dragons, everybody we'll probably see you in the chats in Gary's chat.
It's the meetup spot.
Yeah, exactly. Jane, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I'll see you next time, girl.
See you, Jane. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
She's off to watch a better show.
Most
Won't
definitely.
sleep during that one, that's for sure.
No.
No,
I just
you
didn't
won't.
like the change. I like to have the same actress, but I just started reading the book. I didn't realize they were going to make a change. I just caught up with House of the Dragon the other day.
I have not watched a single episode, but I think I will watch when the season's over. I'll
I
probably
liked it after episode 3. I really got into it.
I'll probably binge it, and then we'll do like a panel review of the whole season when it's done. Rock and roll. Wait. Oh, I thought it was. Oh my god. Thank you. Tyrannel. I read something really bad, and I'm not even going to say that. Thank you so much for the $10. Rock and roll. So what you're trying to say is that the writers wrote the script and then translated it into fantasy speaking using Google Translate. It's true. They did. I think they did.
Is
What
that
about
why
you guys?
Google crashed like last year for that one little brief period?
Oh my god, probably.
Did you see that Dangerous Liaison is coming out in a month?
No, I
I
don't.
can't believe it.
What? You mean like?
Well,
They
the
remade
books. I
it?
read the books 15
Oh.
years ago, but they had a movie originally with John Malkovich, Glenn Close, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Now they made a series for Stars called Dangerous Liaison. I was shocked that they're going
Oh.
to pull it off in 2022.
I didn't know about that. That's
Yeah.
that's cool. Archangel for 10 says, remember in Heat when Val Kilmer got hit in the shoulder with a .556 round and was out of commission for the rest of the film? Movies now don't understand the consequences of injuries. I know. It's like she was just like, okay, I'm fine now. Like, whatever. Who
It's
cares?
just a flesh wound, like what they say in Last Action Hero.
It's just a flesh wound. She was like freaking bleeding out. Like, she would have been dead.
They played too many video games. Like, oh, she got healed. Oh, she's fine now.
Yeah, it's like she got a one up or something. It's like she got a
med pack. Give her
yeah,
med pack.
shit.
Had some back just hung out for 5 minutes, and then the wounds healed, just like in my Call of Duty.
Oh my god. Yeah. She's got a
Her
fucking
shoe
one up for
regenerated.
Mario.
I would like to see one Call of Duty where you get winged and like that's your health for the rest of the game until you get hit
That would
again.
be interesting.
That's funny. Yeah. Steve Holt for 2 says, I was speaking in terms of Troy. Eric is greater than Brad. Especially in Troy.
No,
I
he's
knew what you
Achilles.
meant. I mean, come
Achilles.
on.
Achilles, yeah.
He was so hot though. Brad was so hot. Prime of his life. I can't. There's no way. No way. I can't.
I mean, if he wasn't wearing a dress, he'd probably still be considered hot by a lot of women.
I still consider him hot because I saw him in Bullet Train. And I was like, okay, like it's
He
okay.
wore a dress in Bullet Train?
No,
No,
he didn't
to a
wear it
gala.
in, just to the promo for it. And he won me back because he was pretty badass in that movie, so it's okay.
Not badass. Huh? I have to watch it then.
Good, George. It was so good.
I've
You'll
spent
love it.
I'm gonna watch it. I've spent the last few days after working. I don't know why, but I got into this 80s groove and I started watching 80s movies like Rustler's Rhapsody and stuff, trying to clear
that's
my
cool.
palate.
You'll love it though, dude, because it's like it's just such a fun movie. Like it's
Okay.
just it's
I'll
really
watch
really
it then.
fun, and we could all use a bit of fun.
Oh,
So yeah, then we catch up with the army, who has the king in it, supposedly.
That nobody knows.
That nobody knows, but the king's there. I mean, his armor looks like freaking crap, but whatever. I mean, we've talked about that enough. Same with these people's armors.
By the way, with the king, Halbrand,
Mhm.
there's been a running theme that with a lot more media than this, like a lot of woke media. But thing is, no man is allowed to have his feelings taken into consideration. So and I noticed that because at the beginning of this episode they have the recap, which is, and part of the recap is Galadriel going, I convinced them to do all this stuff for you, and now we can go get your throne. And if they didn't add in some say you used me. They didn't add that in there, oddly enough. But the thing is, like, I was thinking of, but you didn't ask him if he wanted to do that. Like he didn't ask you to do any of that stuff. In fact, he wanted the opposite. He wanted to be left alone.
He wanted to be left alone with his weird fire pits.
Exactly.
You know, it's irritating about the armor. I know we talked about it, but I looked it up the other day. Do you know that Weta actually did the chain link armor? You know, ring by ring by ring.
Yeah.
They made this is like T-shirt and 3D.
They probably sent an invoice for making the armor, and then Amazon was like, "Well, we already spent like $500 million. I don't think we want to spend any more. Just here you go. Just grab something off the rack."
I'm trying to capture a scene where it shows like all the people coming from
Numenor.
Like it's like, okay, so the camera is like panning towards this. I want to press play really quick and then stop it, but this is kind of like how it's presenting it.
Slow-mo, yeah, they do slow-mo.
Yeah, and then also, of course, the slow-mo, they're showing Galadriel, like, you know, ride
Is she
that
smiling
horse.
on that horse?
They wanted their own, like, Rohan.
That's
their
it.
own, like,
It's Battle of Pelennor
Dawn
Field.
at Helm's Deep without earning it, you know.
They're totally doing that. And then they're just kind of showing like these slow-mo horses and hang on. Oh, there's a good shot of like how you're right. I mean, that's kind of they're trying to clone that scene. Like that's basically what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that is the exact scene from Jackson's Battle of Pelennor Fields charge. That's the Rohirrim. Like that's why I said this episode, more than any of the other hours, copied a lot of scenes. I mean, almost shot by shot from my amateur eye.
I agree. And I mean, I'm trying to catch a couple of these. And then of course they kind of like zoom in on her. She's really intense on this horse right now though.
She's loves
like,
it. It's like her bouncy toy.
Giving that shit.
Look at that. Oh wow, I didn't see that one. She's angry. I guess she doesn't.
She's like rough. She's
this
rough
isn't my
riding.
saddle. That's the this isn't my saddle face.
But the armor even looks big for her, don't you think? Is it me or does her armor look big for her?
No, it looks right fitted. It's just
Really?
it's just an
I think the
ugly
elbows
armor.
throw you off a little.
Yeah, probably the elbows. It's just a really ugly armor, and there's no breasts, so you're
the only one that has defensive material it's made out of.
But she also has the crest of Fëanor, which Galadriel in the books would never, ever have that crest on anything.
Why never ever?
Well, because of the fact that, Fëanor pretty much had killed during the kinslaying at Aqualande. On her mother's side, she was related to the king of Aqualande, to the king of the Teleri. The Teleri were these elves when Fëanor had his Cimmerils taken from him after his father was killed by Morgoth. Morgoth went all the way back to his fortress in Angband. Fëanor decided, you know what? I got to get my ship back. He was tired of the Valar. So no one really liked him by that point because he had been pissing everybody off, but he got enough elves together. Galadriel went with him. He's like, we're going to go get these. We're just elves, but we're going to actually take on a Maiar.
Oh.
And when they went there, they needed ships because they're in the Blessed Realm. And so they had to go to Aqualande, which is just on the shore. So they go to Aqualande and they're like, can we have some of your ships so we can sail across the ocean so we can go catch Morgoth? They're like, fuck no. And so they just started killing everybody. Now, there's a big debate. Did Galadriel take part in that? Because what the showrunners are saying is that's when she actually proved that she was aware. No, she didn't. It says she witnessed it. So it was the first time you had the Cain and Abel moment where elf slayed elf. And it's like Fëanor was also the one who asked her way before any of that happened for 3 strands of her hair because it was so beautiful. It looked like the light of the 2 trees, Telperion and Laurelin, which is why in the Third Age, when she actually gives 3 strands to Gimli, it has so much meaning because Fëanor asked 3 times and she kept telling him no because she could tell in his heart, because that was one of her abilities, that he was a greedy, evil little motherfucker who was pompous and that he could cause problem.
Wait, so that's one of her abilities, but she doesn't have that ability here. Like she can't tell what's in anyone's heart or anything like
but
that.
she, like, if that's Sauron, like we all believe it is, she should know.
She should know.
Because that's why he was afraid. She could read his mind. She understood who he was.
Right. But she can tell what's on the mind of the horse because she's really into that horse, man. She's rough riding here. It's okay.
No abilities in this show at all. I mean, that's why I said they stripped her. It's not really, you know what I think this is? It's like a self-insert of Jennifer Salke.
I've heard that. Gary said the same thing too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gary said the same thing.
Nothing else makes sense because the character has nothing in common with the books. Nothing.
Here is another wide shot of the army. It just doesn't seem like they could fit that many people and horses onto those boats.
3 little boats.
But hey, we solved it though.
Yeah.
We solved it. It's okay. It's okay.
Think about those spears. Where the hell would you even put the spears for 500 men? Plus the armor.
I know, like all of the spears, the armor, the food, the hay.
You gotta wear it all while you get on board. You gotta live on your horse while you're on board. You just gotta stay there for the entire journey. Don't carry out luggage at all, or not.
What do you mean? Just sleep on the horse? Everyone sleeps on the horse, fully armored.
Horses sleep standing up.
Oh my god!
Don't they? I can't remember.
That's hilarious. No, they don't. They sit down.
I know they can. Yeah.
So after that scene, and then we go back to the village where basically everyone's kind of like held up in the tavern, and Adar and them just come in and they're like, we're gonna kill all of you unless you give us what we want, which is the fucking stupid hilts of the stupid sword. And everybody's kind of keeping their mouth shut until that the boy is like, you know what? I don't give a fuck about any of you except for my mom, who they're threatening to kill. So I'm gonna tell. So fuck you guys.
Secret weapon that you're seeking out.
Yeah, and Don Lemon, look at his face. like literally the same face every time.
Okay, the thing is, like they have a switcheroo here. So what was the actual plan there? So okay, oh no, they found it. Just kidding, it's an axe in there.
Yeah, just kidding. Just kidding.
So
yeah.
even
How
if
did they match the weight?
I guess they knew or something. Although the sword looks really uncomfortable to wield, it's all made out of metal. But the whole thing that really diminishes the drama of the guy getting it and then riding off and being chased by Galadriel and the other people, and then like, oh, he failed to get it. Oh wait, it was an axe the entire time.
He outwitted them. It's like, wait, they didn't check when it was immediately handed over to them?
Look, he did. He's checking it now. So like he gets it and then he checks it. And I don't remember
I think the old man just or supposedly we're supposed to think somehow did an old switcheroo.
Somebody did the switcheroo. But I don't know who. I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Come on,
the old man got it.
Which is more believable, that they did a switcheroo or that thing created a volcano? It's like I've never, like Mordor was
created
never
a volcano that was already a volcano.
Right. I mean, it's like, you understand in the canon, that area where you have Mordor, it was from the first age destroyed by Morgoth. Nothing grew there. Nothing was green there. This whole shit is a lie.
It might be that Adar switched a sword. Maybe. I think it's really tough to keep things in track.
I couldn't tell because I just kind of rewatched it and I couldn't tell who did the switcheroo. But I can tell you this: I thought this dude died in the very beginning. Like, isn't he the dude? Yeah, isn't he the dude that Adar like pushed in the way of the rocks so he can leave, and then somehow this guy survived?
I think he pushed him away. I don't even know how Adar survived, but I guess the Adar did do the switch. I knew someone did. I knew someone switched the axe. Yeah,
Switcheroo. That's what I said.
That's why at the end the old man has the sword, which caused the volcano to erupt for some reason, and then that's kind of how it happened.
But it poured water because Sauron was a genius who thought, I'm going to make this Rube Goldberg, game from 3,000 years ago that it's like one day some orcs are going to build a tunnel system so I can
carve out a natural river, which is 10 feet wide and 10 feet deep.
The biggest downfall here is that Adar, the whole thing with, he gets the hilt. He gets the hilt. He gets the power. That kid betrayed his own to give it to him.
Right.
But of course, because he's a protected class, they don't allow the consequence to play out. It's kind of when it happens. Where why Galadriel feels like a Mary Sue. Why a lot of these characters feel like Mary Sue's, because even when they do something wrong, the story comes in to immediately absolve them of wrongdoing.
Yeah.
Like, what would happen if he gave him the sword, and then he didn't get caught? They immediately went and said, "Okay, here's a sword, and I put it in that little hole thing, and then activate the volcano." That volcano erupting would be the kid's fault. Like, there's nothing there. Like, it happens anyway, right? So, but because they're able to like do the switch and like kill or capture Adar and take him out of the situation, supposedly get the sword back, it's not actually the kid's fault anymore. So they still have the volcano happening, but it absolves the kid, the main character, from actually being at fault because they won. Now, if they were just, here's a hilt, okay, then they went to go immediately activate the volcano, that would be a narrative flaw because he made the decision to betray and sacrifice everyone to save his mother. And then because now the volcano's erupting, the bad guys are winning, it's all the kid's fault directly.
Right.
Because they did all that.
Learn from that,
yeah.
So you're saying is that they won't let him take the burden so he can learn.
Exactly. It's kind of like how in Rise of Skywalker they killed Chewbacca, and he's like, "Oh, he's dead" for like 5 minutes because Rey made a mistake, the story immediately had to absolve her from all blowback, all sin, and all that stuff. So, oh look, Chewbacca is actually alive. He was on a second ship that we didn't see.
Right.
He's alive, you guys. So that way, Rey didn't actually do anything wrong. See, this is what happens with a lot of their Mary Sue characters. Why nobody likes them?
Right.
Because traditionally, all these other characters that we do like, that we do admire, they will make mistakes, and then they will pay for those mistakes with their protected, beloved, super awesome special characters. Even when they make mistakes, something will happen due to the story that absolves them or dissuades things from happening, where it prevents them from actually being their fault or actually receiving consequences.
Their convenience,
which makes a Mary Sue.
Right, but literature, that's what goes into this whole new era of entertainment, whether it's the shows or films. You have this moral relativity where no one can do any wrong, and even when they do, it's not really wrong. It's your perspective, and the guy felt like it at the moment. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like
let me ask you guys something though. If you're like a creature that's got, an allergy to sunlight, and you're gonna burn if you feel sunlight on you, wouldn't you wear like a darker hat thing? Like, why would you wear white? Like, wouldn't you wear black colors?
Or something.
They're supposed to represent the,
To be fair, the orcs don't actually know when the sunlight hurts them or not, because it just happens within the story.
I mean,
doesn't be running around mid daylight, nothing happens, and then when the story needs them to be hurt by daylight, that's when it occurs.
Right.
Are they basing that off of the old story where if you wear black in the sun, it feels hotter than if you wear white? Are they?
Yes.
I don't know what they're basing on, but they showed them half the time burning in the sun, the other half the time no.
Like, this guy's fine right now, and it's the middle of the day because he's got this hoodie on.
Yeah, apparently all they need is the hood, and they'll be fine.
And I was thinking if it was a black hood, at least you would get more, I don't know,
it's like a see-through hood, so like the light is coming through the hood.
Yeah.
So would they be hurt by the light coming through?
That's what I'm asking. I'm like, I don't understand this because there's light coming through your hood because it's white. So I'm confused.
I guess if they wore the black hood,
but the heat doesn't hurt them. It's the light that hurts
them. It's the light
them.
that hurts them. Yeah. So they can be cool, but the light is coming through the hoods, so that should be hurting them. I guess they can't really wear black hoods because if they wore black hoods instead of white, they wouldn't look like the Klan so much.
There has to be a white exterior with black lining. That's what they needed.
Oh my God.
But again, there's no tailoring in this world, so.
Well, I mean, this one here he's kind of wearing like a beige hood. So this one's kind of like beige because these guys are wearing white. Why is everybody wearing white?
Because they're supposed to be the good guys. I don't know.
No, but everybody's wearing white. The orcs are wearing
white. Yeah, the orcs
are
wearing
white.
Everyone just feels like unpainted D&D models.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the fact that you have the orcs? Not only did they get burned, but did you see that when Galadriel was writing, she was doing the whole John Wick?
Oh my God! Yes, I was just getting to that, George. I was just getting to that. This is it. Oh look, I actually froze it on a scene that's like she's like, woo! Like look at that, she's riding that horse.
I think they're doing this because I think Legolas did this or something.
Yeah.
I know he did some horse tricks.
He did when he jumped on, but he didn't do this, and not in full armor.
He did this like really cool thing where he like, you know,
his double. He tried it. Actually, the actor tried it.
Like flipped on the horse, like, but he was like on the ground, and then he like took the horse.
Aragorn's horse.
I think at this point, Galadriel's just showing off. I don't think she actually has to do all these flips in order to dodge all the arrows.
She's totally showing off. But you know what the craziest part of this is though, is like, I didn't understand how or why she, like, Don Lemonlass would know who she is, like, because he was like, I know who that is. That's Galadriel.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So that would have been a really interesting point if, like, if she wasn't a Mary Sue. It would have been really cool because I bet you they could do like a whole thing where Don Lemonor's like, it's Galadriel, like he hates her, like, because he's not actually
Galadriel,
like he's not actually part of it, but like maybe like he heard of her like exploits and like, oh man, she's gone crazy. Like, yeah, she came to save us, but I heard she went crazy. We might not be as safe as we thought we were. But
she clogged her favorite river with a bunch of paper boats that one day.
Or something like that, you know, like because you have to look at it from his perspective, but he doesn't know her personally. Like he's been in this land the whole time, and Galadriel's been off in like whatever world trying to hunt down orcs. So he might have heard of her, sure, maybe, but he probably doesn't know her for personally. So it would have been really interesting if he had the perspective of, oh no, it's a crazy elf lady, the crazy commander. But because she's a Mary Sue, he immediately goes, oh, that's Galadriel, yay, it's Galadriel. Yeah. I'm such a big fan of you, like immediately. Like everyone just fanboys over Galadriel immediately.
Dude, it made no sense because it was like you wouldn't even know her. Like you wouldn't know who she is. Like they weren't even serving in the same place. I mean, I don't think that they would know each other.
No.
Unless you're saying like all elves look the same, like all female elves look the same. So he's like, yeah, that's definitely Galadriel. Because
I can't remember, but aren't they different kind of elves? Like, isn't she like the high elf, and then Don Lemonor is like a wood elf?
Yeah, those are Sylvan. Yeah, he's a Sylvan elf, so he's much lower than she is. Absolutely, because she's Noldor. She's from the Noldor, and she's especially like because her. Absolutely, because both of her parents had royalty on each side. One of the Teleri and the other from the Noldor. Girl, yeah.
Speaking of being amazing and highborn, George the Giant Slayer has to take his leave. So George, before you leave, tell us your final thoughts on this, and then give us your outro, and you're free to go.
I think my final thoughts is I wanted someone to. It's like this show is just mind-boggling to me. I think what killed me the most was not only the volcano scene in the end, but was the kid that y'all were just talking about. Did you get to the part where he's sitting there, the kid is looking and he's going like, who is that? I swear I was back in a 1920s silent movie, you know, where
one?
The kid, it's like a few seconds later, you have the child.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Well, I know, but who is that? But you have him and you see him, but it's the way that they did it. I swear it was a 1920s film. It's like, who is that? Like, oh, my boy, that is the mighty Galadriel, commander of. I mean, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Like
first of her name. Protector of men.
That was the commander of the northern armies. And
I'm like, you mean the 10 elves that mutinied on him? You know, it's kind of like, no, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. It should have been like that. Should have been hating her or something.
Nah, it's ridiculous.
I'm just wondering how she didn't dislocate her hip doing that trick on the sword on her back. I mean, her legs are all pretzeled.
I don't know.
I mean, and a horse gallops, which means you go up and down. So if you're on your back and you have one leg anchored to the left of the horse and one leg anchored to the right, and you're on your back.
I just watched that scene as you're describing it, and you're right, because she does so many fucking weird things on that horse. Try and like
horses
get away.
Don't have shocks. You're not going to be on a smooth ride.
No. And she does it several times. She dodges to one side. She dodges to
the other side. Yeah, it's right before this. It's like I don't know if I can.
You know what? Really good horse tricks. The Mask of Zorro.
Oh
yeah.
Please, sun in the face, not burning. You just.
And every single time he did a trick on the horse, it was for a reason.
Right.
Yes.
Because he was taking down like a ton of guys, so he did all these tricks for a reason. It wasn't just a show off.
Could you imagine?
He was doing like he was picking them off one by one or two by two, and using his terrain to his advantage.
Yep.
It was done with strategy, and it showed how much he had learned since we first met him. It was very useful. This one here, I don't.
Galadriel is showing off. That's about it.
Yeah. It's not like she hopped down to kick an orc that's going to be in front of her in a second. She's just doing it to do it.
Could you imagine if they had tried this in a movie like Excalibur, all those knights in that armor, like, hey, let me just bounce. It would look as silly.
We make a lot of noise. A lot of clanking noise.
Oh my god.
Well, thank you for having me on again. I always love seeing y'all. LD, great to see you. Script. Jane's not here.
It's always great to see you, man. Tell everyone where they can find you before you leave.
You can find me at Georgia Giant Slayer on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll be putting out more videos this week. Tomorrow you can see me Mondays on Based AF with Adam Krigler.
Yeah.
So I will see y'all next Sunday.
Yeah, be sure to, everybody, if you enjoy lore stuff, be sure to be subscribed to George the Giant Slayer. He explains a lot of this lore stuff in his videos. So if you're interested in getting to the nitty gritty of all things, go and check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe and give his videos a watch.
Thank
George,
you.
Always good to see you, man.
Great to see you. See you next Sunday.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Archangel for $10 says roofing contractor, lighter colors reflect light, darker absorb. Okay, but
Well,
that
I don't
means,
think we're disputing that.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, like, if I mean, like, I don't know, it just feels weird for them to be wearing such a light color if they're trying to avoid,
because it's being more like a sun. It's being more like partially transparent to the light. Like it's
Yeah.
almost
Right
like wearing
back.
curtains as opposed to something that blocks out the sun.
yes, exactly. Like I feel like they need like better raincoats or something. Like I don't know, it's like stuff that doesn't let the light through, but it was see-through. So I was like, what? I don't understand. But yeah, I'm not arguing that. You're right. Okay. So Galadriel just, saves the day. And so does the other queen. Like she shows up because they're like, I mean, they're not even like getting hurt or anything. And then the
Well,
queen,
you can't give them and put them in danger.
yeah, because Galadriel was there, so it wasn't like they were even losing or anything. But then all of a sudden, the other queen shows up, and it was like another scene that they had copied from the Lord of the Rings, where they're like all standing on the mountain, and then she's like, "You go," and I was like, "What?" Like, because she just sends like one general in. There she is with her crazy helmet. She's just like, I'm here too. It's not Galadriel only that can do things. I will send in Isildur. Go, you go. And then he does. He's just like, all right. I mean, I don't know why you would only send one, because there he is. He's like, all right, I'll go.
I'd much rather watch the Flash Gordon movie from 1980s, where the Hawk King is at the charge and he's yelling "dive" to his men in wave form. That was far more dramatic. Because I'm watching a little bit of this in the background. I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing here, but it's boring.
Well, he went because when she told him to go, but it was because his daddy was kind of in trouble, and so he's riding out to save him. But does he? Yes. Archangel for 10 says, I agree, it's stupid. The trench they were digging was covered in basically cheesecloth. I know. They're covered in like cheesecloth. It's crazy. I'm like, what is that?
It just shows the ineffective understanding of their own rules and how they convey them, so that we as an audience can understand the situation. It's so
weird.
It's very childish. It's very like kind of made up as we went along, and we're just going to throw in cool things here and there because we think they work, but not actually seeing the consequences of those choices.
Okay, so there's this one scene here where Isildur shows up, and this part I can't even tell, because I thought for a second that he got stabbed on the horse. Because see this guy here, right? He have to do it. Okay, no way. It wasn't that guy. There was another orc that shows up, and he's kind of like trying to stab him from this side as he's going to he's like stabby this other guy, and this orc is coming to kill him from this side, but then somehow doesn't. Like he just kind of stands there and doesn't do anything until Isildur turns around and stabs him instead. And I'm like, well, why don't you just stab him? He's right there. Like he's really right there. Or like he misses, like as he like goes for the swing, but he's right there. Like all you have to do is stab him.
Yeah.
And then he
Or
just
stab the
misses.
horse.
Or stab the horse.
Oh yeah,
but
this part.
he misses.
I remember he slashes the horse, and it's panned on it like it's a really big event, but nothing happens.
Yeah. Because the horse gets cut a little bit there.
Yeah,
But that's it. Nothing.
You think
happens.
the horse is going to like die, or there's going to be some trouble from that? No, it's just a cut on the horse. The horse didn't even notice.
It was this cut here, and that was it.
But the worker like, yeah, I did that. Gotcha. I got hit on.
He's like, I'm gonna like, I did it, and then like Isildur is like, wait, what? Did you just stab my horse? Fuck you! And then like just turns around and hacks him to death, and like that's basically it. And then he goes and he saves his daddy. He's like, father, and then he jumps over like a shit ton of orcs with his horse, and then he throws his little spear. Oh no, wait. Wait. He doesn't save him. Actually, wait. He doesn't save him. It's Halbrand who saves him, because Isildur is going. For some reason, he's going for like a marathon ride, and he doesn't get there in time.
These guys kind of blend together because they're all like this generic looking guys with long hair and a beard.
It's such a small village though. Like, and you would think that he would make it in time, and then he jumps over like a shit ton of orcs and everything, but he doesn't make it in time. And then somehow, like this orc comes to kill the daddy, and then that orc gets a fucking spear in the chest. And the dude looks up to see who saved him. And we all think it's Isildur, because Isildur was like, father, and he's like riding out. So you think it's him, but it's not him.
But that would give him a win for his dad.
Yeah.
That would give him a win in the eyes of his dad. They can't really have that happen. So you have to have someone else do it.
Yeah. And specifically this one, because they want to make that connection too now. Like, because he's the one, like Isildur is the one that technically kills Sauron, right? Like at the very end, like he's the one that like chops off the ring. And in this, like he's killed, and before that, like his father dies, right? Like Sauron kills his father, and then Isildur takes the sword and he chops off the ring. But in this, like Halbrand, who's Sauron, saves Isildur's father. So they're trying to like make these like juxtapositions of like, look,
make it ironic that he saved the man that led to his death. Yeah,
right. It's like, oh, we're laying the tracks for like when they become enemies because we're so smart.
And all the dialogue, the writing, it's all written by people. All it feels like it's written by people who think they're smarter than all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite thing in the writer room is like, I'm a moron, so let's make sure we do this as best as possible.
So meanwhile, though, at that instance when that happened, Galadriel ran to go after Adar, because he took the fucking thingy and he ran with it. And everyone was like, oh my God, it's Galadriel. She's so amazing. And then she like ran after this dude. And then she does some sort of magic thingy on the horse. Did you guys see that the first time? I was like, oh, this is like the first time she's doing magic. But she does it on the horse.
I did not see it.
I think I missed that one.
Because she says something to the horse like in Elven or something. And then the horse goes like really, really fast. Like it like goes like double time. Because she like says something, she reaches down and she like says something to the horse in like Elvish or something. I forget if it was Elvish or not, but
maybe kind of funny or something kinky. It's like, okay,
she said
fine.
Something. I forget what she said. Hold on, let me see. She's like, you can do it, go, or some shit like that. I don't remember.
You're my favorite ride.
Well, I mean, she isn't into bestiality apparently, so like maybe it's something kinky. Like I'll do that thing that you want me to do if you.
Oh God, no.
Tonight I ride you. Tomorrow you ride me.
And then he went. That's why he went faster.
I like how you're rolling those R's. Tomorrow we ride each other. Why don't I see? Wait, I'm trying to figure out. Yes, I was right. She said Norolim. That's what she said. Here it is.
Is that Elven for harder?
Some elven shit. And then he rides harder. She's like Norolim.
Is that her command word for when it was like more private time?
It's like the safe word, but not really. It's like go faster.
Yeah. Does it mean like horse glue when translated from Elvish? Like, ride faster or your glue?
Norolim. That's the first time she does like kind of like magic, and then the horse goes like double time. And it was like, okay, like you ain't no match for me and my riding capabilities. But somehow, some way, which I didn't understand at all, I was like, how the fuck? Because she does this fucking crazy magic with this magic horse thing, right? She's like, Norolim. And then he like, you know, she's like, she's coming up on this dude. She's like, she's done her fucking elven magic on this dude. She's catching up. And then all of a sudden, Halbrand fucking shows up from the other side. Like somehow he beat them to the like with horse magic and everything.
Sauron magic.
And then he does the fucking sideway thing too. And he's like, you know what? I got this shit.
Which, in the grand context of the episode, it kind of makes sense if he was Sauron, because that guy, what's his name? Adolf? Like he says he was an enemy to Sauron. So and then Andor's like, or Halbrand is like, hey, you remember me? Ha ha!
I'm gonna kill you this fancy way.
Yeah.
It's not enough that I just kill you. I have to do it fanciful. It's like, no, that's the Joker's method. He wants the reputation. You're just a bad guy who wants revenge. Just give him, stab him.
And this dick, by the way, he went for the horse. Like he didn't even go for the for the dude. He went to trip the horse, and he does it. Like he trips the horse with his fucking
He's putting
spear.
the spear through the spokes, so to speak.
Can everyone do this? Can everyone just get to the side of the horse?
I mean, can you really do that? Like, wouldn't the horse just kind of like knock away
the horse
spear?
legs are pretty strong. That thing might snap or just bounce out and not actually phase the horse, because you have to have resistance.
That's what I'm saying.
The reason you can do that with a motorcycle is because of the axle. Like you put in the spokes, it locks the wheel in place, and then force hurls the passenger over the handlebars and into the ground.
Or
you
I
can't
would
do
think
that on a horse.
you would die, like, because the horse would just like run into you, like it would just get to your face, because it would. I don't know. It's
Then
weird.
you'd be trampled
The
by the
physics
horse.
makes no sense. I'm just like, what?
No, they saw the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, and like, hey, can we do that with horses? Sure, why not?
Sure, let's do that. That's exactly what happened, because the horse fell, and that's how Sauron was able to stop this dude. Not even Galadriel. I was actually a little bit surprised that Galadriel wasn't the one, even though she did her weird horse magic. Somehow Sauron like teleported in front of them and then came at him from the other side. By the way, the show wanted to make sure that you knew that the horse was just fine. The horse is okay.
I'm glad I slept through this.
The horse just gets up and walks away. I'm not even joking. And they showed it. And then Halbrand goes on top of this Adar dude, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, you son of a bitch. And he's like, ah, like he's gonna stab him with a stabby pokey stab.
Hey, you remember me? No, I don't. And he's like, oh yeah, I did that one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Galadriel shows up, and she's like, "We need him alive." Even though I still don't understand this whole thing, because how did he beat her? Can anyone explain that to me?
Sauron powers.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to think, why does she need Adar alive?
Well, let's see.
I think it's because she thinks
anything about this man.
She thinks that he knows where Sauron is.
Yeah, she's like, I need him alive.
Why does she think that? Did we get anything in this episode?
Because he controls orcs. He's also an Uruk, apparently.
Yes.
According to this, he's an Uruk, which is like one of the first orcs, which is, you know, the Sauron tortured and twisted elves into being the first orcs, and that's what's his Adolf is.
Adolf. So he's like taunting Sauron. He's like, did I hurt someone you love? Like, was it a woman, a child? And like, he's basically like just kind of daring him to stab him. But he doesn't do it. And fucking Galadriel tells him, like, because he's like, she's trying to save his ass. So she's like, eat your tongue to the guy as he's like spitting out all these
Adar?
words. To Adar, yeah, like eat your
But
tongue.
if she needs him alive and she tells him to eat his tongue, he can't speak. Like,
Then it won't be able to- and then but she's trying to like tell him to shut the fuck up, basically, because he's taunting Halbrand to kill him. Oh, and this is when she says literature devil's favorite line. One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater.
It's weird for her to say because she's been doing that the entire show. I need to kill Sauron. He killed my brother.
She can fix him.
She killed my unnamed brother. I need to go kill Sauron for this reason. Oh, by the way, stupid idiot man, you can't satisfy thirst by drinking seawater.
Yeah,
obviously.
God,
why can't you be smart like Galadriel?
like I can boil it.
Oh my God, you could. But the sea is always right, though.
Yeah, but she's always right. She's like, wait a minute, no, she's always right.
Yeah, I mean, if the sea wasn't always right, then you could always drink. I don't fuck whatever.
If Galadriel wasn't a Mary Sue, he should have been like, wait a minute, you are telling me this? Hold on. Let me tell you a few things.
I taught you that lesson, bitch.
Yeah, you're the one that told me you couldn't get over anything but revenge.
Like just a few scenes ago, we were on the ship. Like, I can't stop fighting. Well, and now you're telling me to stop? Are you telling me that seawater or something like that can't satisfy thirst or something?
Some shit like that.
See, it doesn't work. It reminds me of, like, if you've seen the most recent Top Gun film, Tom Cruise's character is trying to teach roosters, like, yeah, sometimes you just can't think. You just have to rely on instinct and your skills and your training. And then that's a lesson that Rooster doesn't want to accept and learn. But then he comes back, saves Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise is like yelling at, "What were you thinking?" He's like, "You told me not to think." It's like, that's cause and effect right there. That actually shows, that feels earned to far more than this thing where she's just repeating like a general affectation, or not affectation, sorry, a general like lesson that she learned previously without any of the same context to justify using it.
I see water, I drink it. I don't give a shit if it's seawater or not. Back at the village, though, meanwhile, Script Doctor, back at the village, the villagers are happy and celebrating, and Isildur catches up with some of his friends, and this dude's like, I'm going to stay here and help people. And Isildur's like, all right, whatever, fuck, I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want. He's just like, yeah, because you've seen one battle for a week. No, that's not really what he says. He says, seen enough battle for a week, more like a whole lifetime. And like, that's basically their exchange. Meanwhile, after that, oh, this is funny. Okay, hold on. Because they really wanted to emphasize that orc blood. So they've got like orc blood spilled on like their white uniforms that aren't so pretty anymore because they're like stained with like black blood or whatever. But it just kind of looks like they have grape juice all over them. Like, is it just me, or does it look like they just spilled?
They didn't know how to make a sandwich. That's it.
I know. Or like grape jam or something. It looks like grape jam.
I kind of like the fact that Isildur's nickname is Isil. Like, that's the most basic nickname.
I know. Oh my God.
How don't they know how nicknames actually work? Like, I was thinking about Game of Thrones. Like, Tyrion is called the Imp, and then Eddard Stark is even called Ned. You wouldn't have a better nicknames in freaking Frasier, where you have like his brother Niles. Like, he has to live in that apartment, and they're like, first it was Niles, then it was Nilesy, then it was like Wiley Coyote, and then it was just Coyote.
Yeah, but in this one they shorten everybody's name.
Like, it's just
like,
Isil.
what are you doing?
It's just an abbreviation. It's not a nickname.
It's just it's a modern day thing. Like, hey, what is his name? What's like a, I don't know. Hey, Jack or John. Like, it's just, they kind of just shorten the name from its elongated version. Like, it doesn't seem like that would be the case in this world. I think you think they would give him another kind of name that feels more genuine and unique, other than I'm just going to short your name. I'm just going to cut in half.
Yeah, but they won't because they have no fucking creativity whatsoever. So then what? Something about I forget what happens there, but then we go back to the fucking room with Galadriel and Adar, who clearly is still alive, and Halbrand spared him, at least for now. So but Galadriel's asking him all these questions, like, okay, and I'll be perfectly honest, you guys. At this point, I kind of fell asleep. Like, I was like, I don't like the battle's over. I really don't give a fuck anymore. Like, whatever. I was just kind of like, I had fallen asleep a little bit, so I kind of forgotten what this conversation was about. Literature Devil, do you remember what this conversation was about? Because
she's asking him for like, hey, where's Sauron? And he's like, I killed Sauron. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And that's about it. Like,
okay.
He's saying like Sauron, after Morgoth was defeated, Sauron devoted his time to healing Middle Earth or something like that. Then he's like, I totally killed him, you guys. And he's like, oh, yeah, you don't believe I could do that? Well, you're wrong. I totally killed Sauron. And he's like, and then she's like, no, obviously you're lying. And then she's like, I'm going to keep you alive. And then until I can come back to you and whisper in your ear, all your offspring are dead, right before I say, I kill you and say that your plague on a part of land ends with you, and something like that. He's like, I guess I'm not the only one corrupted by evil. And then she's like, and he calls her an Uruk, and that's about it. And then she goes, salt water or something like that, or whatever. And and that's kind of where it goes.
Okay, yeah, they're talking about the power of the dark side, which just kind of sounds like a fucking
something dark side.
Yeah, they're literally like talking about the power of the dark side. It's like
Adar is all the orcs, and she is all the elves.
Exactly. That is also the conversation where we learn what he is. He's like one of the first orcs. That was one of the elves that was twisted and tortured. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, he was one of because the orcs were made by elves. They're made by Sauron torturing and twisting elves into
yeah,
orcs.
and he's telling Galadriel that Sauron is misunderstood because he devoted himself to healing Middle Earth.
After Morgoth was defeated, he started healing Middle Earth or whatever, and then and then Adolf was like, I'm gonna kill him now, and he killed him apparently, according to his story.
Because you cannot have a healed Middle Earth.
which if that's true, that does kind of ring to the case of someone like why. If Halbrand is actually Sauron, is like, do you remember me? And he's like, no, I don't. And that's why he's so angry at Adolf specifically. Like maybe he killed him or tried to kill him or thought he killed him. And like, oh, I'm trying to time for some revenge. So it does really fit with the theory of Halbrand is Sauron.
Bringing its ruined lands together in perfect order is what he's saying about Sauron, because Sauron is, I guess, he sought to craft a power. Well, not of the flesh is what he's saying. So but over the flesh. Okay, so he's talking about the ring, the power of the unseen world. So he's talking about the ring, but it's like all insinuations, like we don't really know what he's talking about, but he's talking about the ring of power. And then he's like, he bid as many as to follow him as to the north, but try as he might, he didn't, I guess. I don't know, something was missing. What was missing? I don't get it. And then they're showing like his fucking weird keep, a shadow of dark knowledge. Oh, is it Mithril that kept itself hidden from him? I'm guessing it's Mithril. Because they just keep showing like these different places. No matter how much blood he spilled in this pursuit, he couldn't get to it. And for some reason, Galadriel's having this kind of reaction to this conversation. Like, she's like, oh my God, he's talking about Sauron, the guy I've been hunting forever. And she's having like this kind of expression like, I'm finally near the journey's end, but not quite, because nothing's actually happening. And then so for his part, he says I sacrificed enough of my children to his aspirations. So he's talking about the orcs. And then he's like, I killed Sauron. And she's like, I do not believe you.
Picture it didn't happen.
Yeah. She literally says, "I do not believe you." You cannot believe that Uruk would do that, he says, which your entire army could not. I cannot believe that you are the army's only master. Or this army's only master is what she says to him. And then my children have no master. He's talking about they're not children, they're slaves, she says. Blah, blah, blah.
A lot of exposition.
A lot of fucking exposition. A lot of fucking bullshit. Meanwhile, Halbrand's just chilling, waiting for his moment that doesn't really come because I don't think. Wait, does he kill him in the end?
Adolf? No, he doesn't die.
No, he doesn't die, right? Do they just leave him in the barn? By the way,
well, they leave him.
How do they find this barn?
They leave him until like the something happens. Like he has a plan that comes into place where they have the sword and everything, and he gets freed at the end.
How'd they find this barn? Because they were like in the middle of the forest. And then all of a sudden they're in a barn.
Well,
I'm so confused.
The forest is a great place for a barn.
Like, what the fuck?
It's all about location, really.
It makes no sense.
Don't ask questions. Questions are racist.
I'm serious, though. They're like, all of a sudden they're in a fucking barn somewhere. Like, where did they go? How did they find this place? Was this some random shack in the middle of the forest? And for what reason? What was its purpose? Look, it's like, weren't they in the middle of the forest? I'm so confused. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares is the answer, because clearly the writers don't. And then Sauron and Galadriel sit together again, and they're clearly being shipped at this point. Like, it's just like, it's getting ridiculous how much they're shipping these two. But they haven't made out yet, which I'm kind of upset about. It's like, why don't you just get it on already? Whatever it was he told, what he did to you. They're just like talking about stupid shit.
We're going to talk about Adar now. It's like, do you want to kill him? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just talking about
you
Adar.
Can't. Why not? I need him. Why? He said he killed Sauron. Did he? I don't know. I don't think so.
Then something about salt water or something.
He says he's dead, but I feel it in my bones. No, I don't know what she's saying.
Take me to his grave.
Yeah, proof. I want evidence.
She says she feels something. Oh, and this is the scene that George was talking about. Man, this is why I totally didn't remember this, because I was completely asleep. So while this is happening, I fell asleep here. Like, I don't remember what happened. And then she just starts to like somehow sharpen her sword.
She cuts Adolf's neck, but like not killing, just like as a warning. Right after she said, "I'm going to keep you alive until the end. I'm going to kill you now," and then she's like, "No, never mind," because he called her an Uruk, and so she didn't kill him to prove him wrong, which I think played into his plan. Ha ha! I didn't kill me.
Oh, okay. You know what? All right. You know what
That's
happened? I just realized something. They went back to the village, so the farm is in the village, because this dude, like, as they're talking like outside the farm or whatever, this dude comes to them, and then he's like, "The Queen Regent wants to see you," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Then they're all giving each other like a girl thumbs up. You go, girl. No, you go, girl. No, you go, girl. For a while.
Yeah, and then that's what happens, because she comes into the village, and meanwhile the queen is giving Persian girl a pat on the back, like, "You're the one that did this, like, and I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. Few fine leaders really do, blah blah blah." And she's talking about how amazing this bitch is. And after that, wait,
she has a single speck on her armor.
No, because she didn't go into battle though. She just waited up on top of the hill.
I'm just gonna watch the referee.
Sent Isildur to go in.
Actually, the actual fighting is for the dumb men. So
yeah,
women don't need to lower themselves to that. That's why Galadriel.
Exactly. Well, other than Galadriel.
Well, she's awesome when she doesn't. She doesn't really get hurt or dirty or anything like that.
And then they introduced, this is Lord Halbrand, by the way. He's supposed to be your king. Like, he's the guy. And then they're like, wait, what?
It's so normal.
They're like, by the way, here's your king now. And they're like, wait, what?
Then she immediately like believes him. And like shouldn't be like, wait a minute. Because he's carrying a crest. Like, so the Numenorians come in and say, hey, he's your king. And then like just because he's carrying a crest, like, oh, I instantly believe you.
I know. It's
Shouldn't
like
be
these
asking a few more questions.
There was better doubt in Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail.
It kind of was.
Oh my God, these people are
freaking...
retarded. Is it true? Are you the king we were promised? It's like, are you 10?
Like, yep, totally the king.
Sure.
Look, he has the crest. Yeah, look, I have the crest. I got the crest right here. I got the crest. We didn't vote for you, but you don't vote for kings. It's not what a Thomas collective.
He must be royalty. God. Why? He's not covered in shit.
Yeah, exactly. I should have said that. I'd been way more serious. It made way more sense.
Oh my God.
He kind of is. He kind of looks like he is, though.
And then the Galadriel gives fucking Don Lemonlass the stupid thing. He's like, oh, I got the hilt back. Like, don't worry about it. And then Don Lemonlass realizes that it was switcherooed. And that the fucking thing is actually in that old dude's hand who went and basically turned on the volcano.
It would have been more clever if they carved out the sword hilt from that wall thing and then wrapped that, because it's the same dimensions and size.
Right.
And also that would, when they unrailed it, it would look more like the hilt before they realized they would have been, hoodwinked. Because that was in the last episode. He shows him the hilt and then he's like, yeah, there's the sword on that carving in the wall. It's like, oh, why don't we just cut that out and wrap that up and give it to him? That would be more clever. Like, why show us that if you're not going to use it?
Dude, they do so much of that in this. Like, they just like show us random shit and then they don't do anything with it. And then meanwhile, this kid's being all dark and emo, and he's like, I don't feel guilt or loss and like shit like that. And I'm like,
it really feels like they think that we care about this kid a lot.
Yeah, like they want us to like really think this kid's Sauron. They're really laying it on thick. Like, this kid is Sauron. Like, he's the one because he's got the sword, he's got the hilt, he's got all the stuff.
He instinctively knew how to activate it by shoving it inside of his own arm somehow.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And then Don Lemonlass gives him back the stupid hilt, which is weird because then again they show the mark of Sauron on him, and I was like, they're really, really laying it on thick here. Like, there is the fucking Sauron mark. But isn't this the sword that wasn't a sword? This is like, because he opens it and it wasn't the sword, right? It was like the axe. Let me see. Yes, it's an axe. So yeah, it was an axe. And then that old dude, the one that I thought died at the very beginning, but didn't actually die, he went to the spot that Adar told him to and opened the fucking volcano. Like, he turned something on.
He activates the floodgates, right? That's what it was. Is that from that clip I saw on Twitter?
Yes.
And then everybody dies, apparently.
Which again was really weird because, first of all, like, you would think that a main character would do this, like, not some rando old dude. Like,
it's the evil old man who betrayed everybody.
I know, but I thought that like they would make the kid do it or something, like somebody who actually mattered to the story, like not some rando old dude that was just there to be there. Like,
this is your function.
Yeah, it's like, I thought that they were gonna make it the kid. Like, the kid was gonna somehow be led to opening this fucking thing or whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
This guy's really into being like a slave. He's really enjoying his role as a servant.
He loves it.
Sauron, like, all right, Sauron. I want to, and then, even then he's like, okay, so you're not Sauron, but whoever you are, I work for you.
yeah.
He just really wants to be dominated by somebody.
That's actually a very interesting character to explore. I would rather have the show about this guy who just goes from villain to villain as like the default goon. Always survives.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So he turns the thingy on, and then somehow the floodwaters like just turn on or whatever. And then we cut to another scene, which again is bizarre. Of freaking Isildur and Daddy, and they're just like hanging out or whatever. And then they see the fucking floodwaters, I guess. Oh, the horses freak out. The horse freaks out. The horse is like, oh my God. And then they're like, oh, what's wrong with the horsey? Nothing, whatever. They just talk about their feelings. There's nothing really to discuss.
Feelings and fields.
And it was weird to me though, because I was like, wouldn't you freak out if your horse started to freak out all of a sudden? Like, wouldn't you be like, maybe there's some danger coming. Like, maybe we should get out of here. Like, something's happening because the horse is freaking out for no reason. But they didn't. They just kind of stood there. And then they heard something. And then they're like, wait, what's that? And then they kind of like look up and they're like, what's happening? We're scared.
Wait.
And
so
then
much wrong with that. Like, so that's what they were building the trench for. They're basically just creating a river to go into the already existing volcano to compel it to erupt, but it already has an opening at the top, so why would it erupt in that way? It needs pressure. And it does nothing about this makes sense.
Nothing about it makes sense. Because then this is where I started waking up though, because there was sounds, like there was like explosion sounds, and I was like, wait, what?
No, I slept through all that.
Like, I was like, oh my God, like something happened. Like, oh, okay, I'm awake. Like, you know, like, so I totally, like, I was knocked out that entire conversation with.
That one character kind of reminds me of this.
Surprise, you worthless runt. It's time for your hourly beating. No. That's my name. It's actually
that guy's totally like that.
Harder, Daddy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's very Dragon Ball.
Oh my God.
Please. Dude, it's my turn.
Oh my God, that's him.
That's totally that guy.
So then there's like water exploding from, like, what is it, water or steam, or I don't know what exactly is exploding, but things just start to explode.
From like a well?
It's like some sort of steam or something just starts to explode out through the entire village. No, it's water. It's water. It's the same water. It's like it's just exploding everywhere.
What?
And then
the water hits the lava, and then that causes the volcano to erupt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's already a volcano. It would just be like a giant teapot. Just smoke would just be billowing out the top because the water would be cooling. If there was no top to the mountain, pressure would then build, and then you'd have an explosion. But
right, but in this case, it wasn't like that. So the water used the tunnels that the fucking orcs had dug. So I guess now we find out what the purpose of the tunnels was to lead the water to Mount Doom. Like that was the entire purpose of those tunnels. And then so once they get the water there, it just kind of drops down into Mount Doom, Script Doctor, like this.
Yeah.
And then there's an explosion. But it's almost as if it was fuel or something, because I wouldn't think that water, even in large quantities of water going into a volcano, would create a massive nuclear eruption. Like it just makes no sense. Wouldn't it just evaporate?
There has to be no means for steam to escape, so that pressure would be building inside and then eventually would shatter the frame of the mountain. But this has many. I mean, that's one option. The other part too is like if there's weaker parts of the mountain, holes would form, and then steam would just burst out of that, and it would alleviate the pressure. There's all these other variables going on with this type of stuff. This is really just contrived. It's like we want this volcano to explode, and we have no other means of doing it, so we're just going to pump salt water in there. And I mean, if it was just a normal mountain, it had a mountaintop, no hole or anything of that nature, and they were pumping it in there, I think you could actually get that result, but they didn't show it to to us that way.
It was the Tempest, a heart of lava. It was the Tempest. Oh, that's funny. And then Script Doctor, I just want to let you know that we got a Mount Doom origin story, and it kind of like started to wipe out the village because like it just kind of started to like explode everywhere.
Oh, volcano would wipe out a village if it's nearby. That's 100% sure.
It kind of started to. So like everyone just started to like run around because like those like fire like asteroids and stuff like that, like just crashing down.
Debris,
Like they look like asteroids, are like just crashing down like all around them, like just giant rocks of lava. And she's just standing there staring at it. Like she doesn't do anything. She's just like, I am Galadriel and I will take on the volcano myself. And she did, because she just kind of stood there. She was like, I don't give a fuck. This volcano's got nothing on me.
She
I'm
knows she's Mary
Galadriel.
Sue at this point. She knows she has plot armor. She's
It's like she's not even playing chicken with the volcano. It's like, yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah, she was like, I'll be fine. And I don't know what
doesn't say everyone gather around me. I'll be okay. I mean, I got a 10-foot circle of protection because the story says so.
Yeah, is it like, what does she have a shield? Like, I don't know. No, she was just Galadriel the Unburnt. That's
she
literally
became a
what
Lord
she
of
is.
Cinder.
Oh, is this going to be the? This is the setup to that shot of her covered in Cheetos.
Yeah, the Cheetos,
right? Okay.
the Cheeto shot. Yeah, so like everyone, I'm telling you guys, everyone's freaking out. Like they're all running away. They're like, we're all gonna
In
die.
every direction. I remember
In
that from
every
yesterday.
direction. Everyone's dying, but she's not. She's just standing there like a rock. She's like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. Like, just bring it on. Bring it on, Mount Doom. Bring it the fuck on. I don't care. I got this. Even the queen is running. The queen is like, fuck, I get the fuck out of here, man. Like, I don't wait. Let me try and grab that shot because it looks funny. Because the queen's got like some rando girl with her, and at least the queen's trying to do something. Like she's like, come on, like rando, I'll save
Come,
you.
my subject. I need you to worship me later.
Come on, rando, let's go. I can save you. But no, not Galadriel. Galadriel ain't rescuing no one.
Oh, if they're being cast out of their village because of the volcano, are they gonna like cross paths with the Harfoots?
Oh God, you're probably right.
Once the volcano kills the Harfoots,
Harfoots,
all of a sudden the Harfoots are all happy and traveling, and the volcano ash just melts them all.
It
should.
Awesome.
I hope so. There's Halbrand. Halbrand's even like, fuck, what's happening? But yeah, but not Galadriel. Galadriel is standing in the face of the patriarchy. I mean, the volcano. Because that's who she is.
They should be boiling alive in the heat at that distance.
I mean, Pompeii, right? Like, I mean, we have like historical records of a
the
fucking
air
city.
Would be rippling and evaporating.
You couldn't breathe anymore. All these people would die. I mean, like of us, like they wouldn't be able to breathe. Just generally speaking, because there's so much smoke. Like, have you guys ever been like? I mean, Script Doctor, I know you have, because you live in Canada. Have you ever like, you know, lived through a forest fire that's like a little bit far from you, and then you get the whiff of the smoke coming through?
Yeah, I've seen it in parts of Canada, and I've seen it a few times in California during fire season, because that's when I'm there to work. Yeah, you've got the sun is blocked out and it's basically orange, and you can kind of taste burnt wood in the air.
Yeah, and you can't breathe. You just cannot breathe.
Pleasant. Yeah. The closer you are, it gets worse. But
yeah, like your eyes burn, and you're like, it's bad. It's bad. I've been like involved in very bad forest fires, like in California, like when the really bad one happened, and in Vancouver. And so like, you could smell it from like miles away, and you can like experience that burning in the eyes effect and everything. So these people would be fucked, like, because there's a fucking volcano going on. Like they wouldn't even be standing anymore. They would just be like just fainted, because they can't breathe. Yeah, IGN gave this 10 out of 10. It's true.
IGN hasn't been credible for decades.
No, but nobody in this village is gonna die, I don't think. Well, maybe a couple. Definitely not freaking Galadriel though, because she's just gonna stand there and
she could at least turn around and say, "Nothing to see here. Go on your way."
Oh my god, like Leslie Nielsen, like, nothing to see here.
Go back to your homes.
No, that was it. That was the last shot. She's gonna basically. Oh wait, that's not the last shot. Well, it kind of was, because they like just zoom in into her face and she just like closes her eyes and she like breathes. She's like,
He can't breathe in that.
she does. She breathes. And I'm like, what the fuck? See, she's like breathing that Zen air.
Like,
She's like,
this is what I fought for.
A big lung full of poison. Fantastic. Feels so good.
She would cook inside her own armor. She would. And that was it. That was the end of the episode. Now I've heard from Az and Gary, who have very credible sources and have claimed that they know. They know what happens in the series, and they've told me that this was the last battle scene that we're gonna see this entire series. I think there's 2 more episodes left, so the rest of the episodes are going to be exposition. So I'm guessing the next one probably is going to be all about the Harfoots, and then the one after is probably going to be about the Mithril and the elves and the dwarves.
That's all we got in this exposition, and then every once in a while we get like a pseudo philosophical phrase, and then more exposition. And do we really need more? Can we have some battles? Can we have something?
No, this is it.
Consequences. I mean, the other part,
at least consequences.
This is literally what the first season is. It's about the creating of the Forge, the creating of Mount Doom, the finding of Mithril, and I think that's it. Just those 3.
That's it. Yep, that's it. And finding out that all the women are better than everybody else,
but
especially the women
is not
leaders.
How you tell those stories. I mean,
the Elf King is basically useless, Script Doctor.
Like, we're missing the. I mean, I understand the discovery of Mithril. That's fine. That's a discovery. That's okay. What does this mean?
Okay.
That's fine. I don't like how they did it, but that's fine. But why are they building the Forge? Why does Adar want to create Mount Doom? Like we're missing those very important elements of. Okay, I'm going to build a Forge. Why?
We're gonna probably get all those answers next 2 episodes. Like it's gonna be just like exposition dump, and
but we're getting them so late that their introduction loses the importance. Like that's the thing. Like I don't care that they're building the Forge. I don't care that they're making Mount Doom right now, because I mean, looking at it, like if this was my first exposure to this world of Lord of the Rings, you've failed into making me care about why these things are important, and that's a travesty. That's the first fault of your own story. Is it doesn't matter that you're doing it, you have to give us the why, because people do things because of personal motivations. It's one of the aspects of like, okay, if you want to make your dialogue sing really, really well, make sure you understand why your character is speaking in the first place. Because if they're just talking to talk, you've got nothing. There's nothing to contribute to it. They have to have a motivation to it. So it develops their character, it conveys plot or furthers the plot, or if it's in a comedy, it makes you laugh. And those 3 things all have to be driven by the central goal of what that character is, why they're in that situation, why they want to speak, what it is they say, and everything that they say should be trying to facilitate the means to achieve their goal. And if you don't get any of that, you're just basically wasting time. And that's it. Yeah. And we've already seen 6 hours of that.
Wait, somebody just told me, I can't see it, but somebody just told me that Noralim was copied from the trilogy. Is that what Gandalf says to that horse when he's riding him fast? I don't know. But if it's true, either way, that's like the first magic we've seen her do, though. It's the first time she's like done anything magical. Well, other than like when she kind of felt that thing in her sleep. At least it was shot like that I thought that she was feeling that thing in her sleep. Remember? I think
is that on the boat?
Second episode. Yeah, it was on the boat.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I think that was like on the second episode or something. Oh, Arwen says it. Okay. Yeah. But that's like the first time we've seen her. Says, yeah. Arwen says it to her horse when they're fleeing the Nazgul. Okay. Well, either way, that's the first time we've seen her like say anything magical to anybody. Yeah, member berries. Yeah, I could see it. Well, I don't know. Literature Devil, what's your theories for next week? What do you think we're going to see? I think we're going to see Harfoots.
I think we're going to watch the episode and fall asleep again. That's my theory.
Yeah,
if they added more, we can barely stay awake during the interesting stuff. Imagine if they go back to have an entire episode about Harfoots. They're the worst.
They're just gonna like show up now, but like we're the Harfoots. Wait,
sing like a really blatantly obvious song, and then just we're gonna have like an hour of just pseudo philosophical phrase after pseudo wise phrase. Did you know that walking to you cannot get where you're going by walking to the berries or some crap like that?
We cannot go into that fire road. Something
walking at night,
burning.
You walk at night, you die, or something like that. We can never get to the world, or whatever it is.
You can't get to where you want in a straight line. Sometimes you got to go around.
Yeah, some dumb stuff like that.
Stupid.
They're difficult to say something like you can never get it to where you're going by going right to it. You must travel along the way, or something like that. Something about being
before there's light, there will be dark again.
Yeah, something basic like that. Like you must get to the woods to get to the paradise or whatever. And it's
the woods have trees.
When the rain has passed, the ground will be wet. You know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. When the rain falls, the ground becomes wet, but then it dries again. You know, something like that. Some hopeful crap, or about togetherness or something. Like it's always about that stuff. Like you have one or two.
Let's take the common cliches and try and tokenize them. No.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, I think we're gonna catch up with the Harfoots next episode.
It feels like a season.
Yeah, it already feels like a fucking season already. I'm like, I can't believe there's 2 more episodes. I'm like, but Mount Doom already exploded. Like, how much more are we gonna?
If it's only 2 episodes, thank God.
I think it's only no wait. Am I wrong? Wait. Because
I kind of want one of them to say, you know what, Galadriel? Some motherfuckers always wanted to ice skate uphill or something like
that. Yeah.
Wait. Oh my fucking God. No joke. I just put Amazon Lord of the Rings. The article they came out, I put Rings of Power in Google. It says Amazon analyst said he fell asleep watching the company's Lord of the Rings Power TV show, making him even more worried about the $1 billion project could be a bust. No shit.
Even the analysts are falling asleep during the show.
Look. Amazon analyst says he fell asleep watching the company's Lord of the Rings of Power TV show, making him even more worried the $1 billion project may be a bust.
An analyst who does nothing but look at boring data all the time.
It may be a bust. It's like getting a guy who enjoys golf and taxes, or like oh man, this was boring.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so funny. Hold on, I need to. Okay,
yeah, it's only 8 episodes.
Your show with evil and demons and magic and dwarves and wizards and elves, that was more boring than taxes. So, congratulations, you accomplished something.
Let's see, how many episodes are going to be in this bullshit? Wait,
yeah, it's 8. I just checked on the.
Is it 8?
Yeah. Oh God,
Thank
8 is too many.
God, because I thought it was going to be 10. So thank God.
No, I think the next article should be after the end of Rings of Power. 8 is enough. And just end it now.
More than enough. Oh my God, this is terrible. Hold on, let me see if there's any funny.
And the next episode, Halbrand will explore Galadriel's Ring of Power.
Oh, hey! The rings.
And Johnny Cash rendition, down, down, down in a burning ring of power.
Ring of fire.
They all have butt rings. Why Amazon put its $715 million Lord of the Rings series in the hands of 2 first-time showrunners? Oh, wait, this is from 3 weeks ago, though.
Still valid.
Wow. Somebody at MSNBC actually asked this question. That's pretty funny. It's from CNBC.
It has to be some sort of producer style scam. Like they had to spend $100 million, but they get to keep 600 of it.
You think? Probably. I mean, really, these 2 guys, I think, are just proxies for their parent company, and that's where all the money's going. And they're like, you're just the figureheads. Just go there, do what you want. We get the money, you get a payout. Who the hell cares if it's good? That doesn't matter. Nobody gets it.
The two relative unknowns impressed Amazon Brass the most. Why?
Because Amazon Brass has no metric for taking show pitches. That's why. That's
The
why their
duos-
content on Amazon Prime is all over the place. Some shows are great and some are just forgettable.
Oh my god, they're saying this stupid. Oh my god, they're stupid. Like, oh, it's gonna be a prequel. Is good. Oh, fuck off with this bullshit. It's from 3 weeks ago, anyways. Who cares? I'm just being entertained by these headlines at this point because it's like this show is so bad that they're not even writing anything great about it. Like you can usually, after a few days after like an episode is out, they can be like, this is great. Oh, here's one. Rings of Power episode 6 recap, an epic and shocking series defining spectacle. Was it? I don't know if that was.
I mean, epic and shocking makes sense in regards to its awfulness. I mean, that's a low-hanging fruit observation, but I mean, if you're going to use those words, you might as well be honest about it.
Yeah, because it kind of sucked. But all right, well, that's it. That was the episode. We did it. Yay, we got through it. Some of us, anyways. I didn't get through all of it.
I lost 6 hours. Like, I literally DM'd you guys, said I'm watching it now. Hopefully, if I don't fall asleep, I'll make it on time. And I
know. I said that too. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's asleep, guys. Like before you came, because you didn't show up, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's asleep because he said he was gonna fall asleep. I mean, I did too. To be fair, I fell asleep right after the village fight, and I didn't even get that part.
I fell asleep, I guess, during the boat scene, just right at the beginning.
You probably did. You probably did. Is Nerdrotic going live tonight? Yes, they're going live. I think probably in a half an hour, 15 minutes, a half an hour. And they're talking House of Dragons. So if you've seen that show, go and hang out with them. Valkyria Winter, thank you so much for the 10. Says what they should have done had Galadriel use magic before fighting to enchant herself or something. That would have been cool. Showing that would have shown her powers and magic and tell us why she's good in sword work. See, that would have been kind of interesting, but no.
Should the spell of sword play?
Yeah, like she could tell like her sword, like la 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 la, and then like I don't know.
The spell on the sword, where the sword wields her, so that she doesn't have to wield it.
Yeah, she doesn't. It's not what Sauron was this building. It's like the ring. That's kind of like what the ring is, isn't it? But yeah, thank you, Valkyria. I mean, that would have been something, I guess. I would have really liked to see Galadriel be like an actual magic wielder, like somebody that can see into the hearts. Like what George describes is such a cool character compared to what we're getting. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. You know what? At this juncture, I am also rooting for Sauron. He's my new main man.
Yeah, you root for Sauron because it leads to the good Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So I'm rooting for Sauron.
The writers looted tokens.
Yeah, they really did. They took nothing
looted
of
his
value.
legacy.
They looted it so late that there was nothing of value for them to take that they could use and turn over to something good. They couldn't repurpose it or resell it or flip it.
Evil cannot create. It can only corrupt what good forces have made.
Todd Packer says Sauron's a hottie. Nina, you can fix him. I don't want to fix him. I don't want to fix him at all. I like a bad boy. Yeah,
he's already perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, Sauron did nothing wrong. He wanted to fix Middle Earth. It's all of you other people that have a problem.
Adolf told us that he was trying to heal the Middle Earth.
Adolf. I like how we've called this guy Andor, Adolf.
His name's a lot easier to remember for me if I could just call him Adolf. He was just pretty much Adolf.
Makes sense. I mean, come on. He's making orcs. He was misunderstood. Exactly. Sauron.
He just gets a good woman by his side.
He was misunderstood, guys.
What? Oh yeah, I forgot. They said I can fix him. Like they brought on the super fans. I can fix Sauron.
Oh my god! Well, they said we can fix Tolkien. That's what the writers said. They were like,
fix Tolkien.
Yeah, we're gonna fix Tolkien, and we're gonna make it all like representation.
The only fair criticism you can give to Tolkien is that sometimes it's a little long and a little dense, and they did that like in tenfold here.
Mm.
That's not fixing. That's taking the one somewhat valid criticism to a degree and saying, no, we're just going to quadruple down on that.
Yeah, you're making it more boring. Like I don't know how you could do that. It's like, it's so weird.
This is what it remind me of. Like this is let me see here. Here it is. This is what they did in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen that one with the Jesus picture
the Jesus.
too. That's great.
Which is a travesty because that was a beautiful piece of art that was
destroyed.
destroyed.
That was destroyed. Okay, so Script Doctor, tell everyone where they can find you.
In bed.
Nah, you're going to bed. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm wide awake right now. I'll probably be awake for a few hours. Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah. Fun fact. My doctor recently prescribed me sleeping pills because he's noticed that I'm not sleeping on the right schedule anymore because of Rings of Power.
Why don't you just put on some Rings of Power, man, and go to sleep?
I don't want to keep punishing myself.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, but yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD, and who knows what's gonna happen. I might do a game stream of Diablo tonight if I can't fall asleep in the next few hours. So this Halloween, it's a spooky kind of game.
Ooh.
Come join me. We'll talk and whatever. But I don't know. It's not 100%, so just keep an eye out.
On your YouTube channel, right? Like you're not doing it on Twitch or something. Okay.
I don't know how to Twitch. I just learned how to share a screen on YouTube.
I'm the same way, dude. I don't know how to Twitch either. So everybody make sure you are subscribed to Script Doctor. All the links of the panelists are in the description down below, including Jane George's Literature Devil. Please tell everyone where they can find you and what you got coming up.
They can find me on YouTube, Literature Devil. I'm also on Twitch. I recently got my affiliate status, so I'm also on there.
Yay!
Actually, this coming month, I'm going to be doing covering Samurai X, which is the prequel to Rurouni Kenshin, that era. So I did part 1 this past Friday. I'm going to do part 2 this coming Friday, and hopefully every Friday until we're done. It's 4 parts, so that one will be there. I'll be doing that on Twitch on Fridays. And then I have Dr. Alpha Miracle Child. My first comic book is on Kindle still. If you want to check that out, because I'm coming out with a new comic book soon, Dr. Alpha Dead Man's Lullaby.
Yay!
And I'm hoping to launch that campaign sometime this month, hopefully this weekend at the earliest. So it's getting there.
I saw a sneak peek and it was awesome. And I love the song you used. I was like,
oh yeah. I think people find it familiar, probably.
Especially now.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's amazing, and I'm looking forward to that. And the links are in the description. I'm pretty sure I put your book's link in the description too. Maybe
I think so.
I did. No, I didn't. God damn it! I didn't do it, but I will. I have it, so I'm going to. Let me quickly do that before I forget. Because why didn't I do that? Why do I always forget these things? I have like link stuff set up for people, and then I never use it. I know, I'm weird. Women are weird, you guys. Hold on.
Real says, I like when LD said it. I said it was a cool song, so I just took it. Basically, yeah. It was a cool song, so I just took it. Also worked perfectly with the trailer.
It worked great with the trailer.
Yeah.
Also, it was a cool song.
It was a cool song. Okay, there it is.
I went to like 10 different songs, and then that one just fit the best.
Found your link. Here it is. Okay. Except it's freaking Amazon, so it's fucking so long, but whatever. Sorry, guys. Instagram, Literature Devils, book. Get it. Wait, can't type. Book. There it is. It's in the description as well as LD's book. I just put it in the chat. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Get it. You guys are awesome. And as for me, you can find me on Monday on Midnight's Edge. We are most likely going to have a very cool, very, very, very cool guest tomorrow on Toxic Femininity. So you definitely want to tune in tomorrow at 8 Eastern on Midnight's Edge. And Tuesday, I'll be on The Real BBC with Az, Gary, and Mahler, and we'll probably be talking about this shit show. So until then, I will see you guys next time. And as always, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to those who super chatted. If you pressed the like, if you just came and hung out, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you became a member, all that good stuff. You guys are amazing. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye. Let's see, which commercial should we do? Let's go with this one.